Isn't it okay to get lost in Las Vegas?
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking about this the other day. You know, my son, Jesse, was out in Las Vegas when we had that 70th birthday celebration, but actually was not in attendance at the big, gathering when everybody got together for the birthday dinner. Why? Because he was playing poker at a nearby casino. And I was thinking, I really respect that. I do. Some people that might have caused some kind of very, almost abrasive kind of rift in the family. But, with me, and everybody accepted it. Oh, yeah, he's in a poker tournament? No problem, man. Let's hope he wins, which is great.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
And a very pleasant good morning, everybody. Great to be with you on this, which should be a very celebrated Degenerate Friday, the St. Patty's Day edition of Degenerate Friday. A lot of things kind of coming together, converging together at the same time here. And good to have you guys with us. So we have, as they say, and who was it? Was it Mark Hockman? Used to say he had a loaded baked potato or something?
Potato.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not, what's funny, Lubie, as much as I like bacon, as much as I like cheese, as much as I like, sour cream and all of this stuff, I'm not a fan of the loaded baked potato. I just want a slice of butter on that thing.
I love loaded potato.
Yeah. It was one of those deals when we were at Texas Roadhouse, as great as it was to have the loaded mashed potatoes, just as soon as I had the mashed potatoes, although the dish itself was great. And a lot of people like all of that stuff on top. Anyway, maybe that'll come up for a discussion on the Mike Mayo Lunchbox. Mayo's going to join us later on. Just part of a large contingent of people that are going to try and help you get through the second day of the NCAA Tournament, as day one had more than its share of surprises, you would have to say, Louis. We were speculating that no 16 would beat a 1 at halftime of the Northern Kentucky-Houston game. We thought, these fucking hillbillies might do it.
Well, we were pretty strong in that there wouldn't be a 15 beating a 2.
We didn't think there'd be a 15 beating a 2. We talked with Brandon Lang yesterday on our podcast on Believe, and he saw the same scenario. No 15s beating 2s, no 14s beating 3s. And Princeton rattles off the last 9 points of a low-scoring game, and they pull off what was the most monumental upset, although the other game probably is going to draw more attention in terms of being the upset, the Furman victory, as they knocked off the ACC regular season champion Virginia, and it's not the first time Virginia has run up against this. Predicted by some people, the professor yesterday was kind of warning people off of the Furman's team, saying that not only were they not going to win that game, but probably not cover the 5 and a hook. Now, I believe he had a pretty good day yesterday, because I'm thinking about some of the other games he gave us, and it seemed like he came up with winners.
Yes.
But and this wasn't one of his picks. He was just saying, hey, everybody's all over this Furman situation against Virginia, including the guy Howie Kasoy that was handicapping in the New York Post. He said that Virginia is ripe for an upset, especially based on the style they play. Now, they were up 12 in this game, and by all rights, I mean, it's almost impossible to figure that they lost.
Well, and even the cover, like at the
they were going to lose to the spread, but that they lost the game outright, well, it was really something else.
But even at the way the end of the game was going, they actually could have covered, and it felt like they were going to cover. There was a couple weird, like there was a foul that was called. I still haven't seen the play, but Ken and multiple people have said, yeah, there was no foul there. They were up 4 Virginia, and they got to stop. They were going to get the ball. They were going to get fouled. So if they make their free throws, they're now up 6. There's the cover. And they called a foul. So that's what made it a 2-point game and really took the cover off the table. And then they just fell apart.
Well, this was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. I mean, they always tell you, if you're chasing a ball that's going out of bounds, that the worst thing that you could do is throw it inbounds underneath your own basket.
Worse.
So no matter how great of a try, you could be making like a Dennis Rodman type of dive into the stands there, where you're actually perpendicular to the floor, parallel to the floor, and 3 feet off of it, and you're diving into the seats there, and you're about to put your head firmly between the breasts of like Diane Cannon at a Laker game, which probably wouldn't be a bad idea now that you mention it, or I mentioned it. But the last thing you want to do is save it underneath your own basket and pop it back in so that it goes to the other team to get a basket. Equally dumb, though, is while trapped in the corner. And I'm not sure if there was a timeout left. I don't know that Virginia even needed one, because there was only 4 seconds to go in the game.
Okay, the one thing I'll say, and I've said to people, and they're like, I can't believe, I don't know what he was thinking. Now, why would he do it? Because it was dumb. what he was thinking. They made it. They were very interested with 27 seconds when they were going to shoot. Furman didn't need a three, and the announce was it Van Gundy was like, they don't need a three here, and then of course they shot a three and they bricked it. They made it a point to say they don't have timeouts, but they have the possession arrow.
Okay.
And I have a feeling Virginia, the point guard, couldn't get his mind off of that. Because it's the same thing as throwing it out of bounds. If you get tied up there and they get possession arrow,
they get the jump ball.
They get the ball because there's no jump ball in college. They get the ball under your basket with 4 seconds left, which is, as we saw, plenty of time to get a ball in and shoot a three. Yeah. But what he did wasn't the answer either.
Oh, no. I mean, you would never make that move. I mean, where you just heave it to the sky. And there happened to be a player at midcourt for Furman who gets the ball, and then it almost became like the Leitner shot. It was a variation on a theme as he pushes the ball ahead immediately to a three-point shooter who had been a bricklayer the entire game. It was a guy that needed a Mason card. He's usually a pretty reliable scorer for Furman, and he hoists one up there, and, of course, it goes in, and they win the game outright by 1 point. So that was a 14 and a 3, and then later on we had the 15 beating the 2 with Princeton coming up against Arizona. So I don't know. Should we have an ice pack on our heads after yesterday? Those two games. I mean, the early round games. If you don't have the team that would have prevailed in that spot going far anyway, then you're not penalized as heavily as you might be. I had Arizona, I think, winning another round and going to the Sweet 16. That was a fair assumption, I thought. And Princeton, you were thinking, holy Pete Carrill, how the hell are they going to stay in this game? And it looked like they were going to get blown out. Not blown out, but lose handily, and they end up winning the thing. The Houston-Northern Kentucky game actually was a little ominous for Houston because they have a couple of guys that are injured. And, Sampson, after the ball game, was talking about he looked distraught. And he had the feeling that maybe their number was going to be up in the second round. So that's something to watch for because they had two key players that were probably either compromised badly in that game and or are going to be completely unable to go in the next ball game. So we'll see what happens there. So there's a chance that the number one seed gets knocked out early in the tournament, which didn't happen in the other games featuring number one seeds, although Houston was up like 2 points, 3 points at halftime against a Northern Kentucky team. I happened to see their game when they won their conference championship, and, I don't know that you would say it was underwhelming, but you certainly wouldn't have given them too much of a chance to beat Houston. They didn't do it eventually, and a lot of the chalk did prevail. You had some 10s versus 7s. Penn State, I thought was a pretty good play yesterday, and they won handily. Had Missouri also, but in general, I mean, those were two startling upsets. Other than that, I don't know. Did you see anything, Lubie, that you can make any definitive conclusions about, or even some general ones?
No, it was. That's what's funny is it'll go down as, I guess, a crazy day, but it really wasn't. It really wasn't. Like Penn State, I guess, is an upset, but I had Penn State.
Yeah, I didn't think that was that big of a deal. Yeah,
Ken, I think, was anti Texas A&M. So most of the people we talked to they were at 10, but not really. There was two big upsets and everything went to form.
Pretty much, yeah.
It was, yeah.
And a lot of the games that you figure were going to be hammer jobs where I don't know about covering giant spreads. I think some of the underdogs might have come through in that category. The Princeton game on the money line was plus 750, Lubie.
Oh, my God.
Imagine, I mean, if you got the balls to do that, or you have some insight and you're thinking, the Ivy League isn't as bad. They always tell you, the analysts, all of these analysts, and they have some pretty good ones, actually, on CBS and TNT. Yes. Between the whole combination, the plethora of analysts that they have on 17 different channels, a couple of guys, you looked at and you listen to and you say, well, this guy's making some sense. But after post-race handicapping is not the same as handicapping before the fact, people. These guys need to understand that. If you told me before the game, hey, you know what? That Ivy League really plays some tough basketball. Yale has a good team. Harvard has a good team. Princeton, we all know their history is having, some semblance, a foundation of being a team that you would have to reckon with once in a while. That'd be great. But after the game, don't stare into the camera and tell me, well, that Ivy League is really something this year. Because nobody mentioned that. Nobody gave him any chance, which, was kind of crazy. I got a line from Frank Miramonte, race caller out at Santa Anita, and one of the funniest cats I've ever known in my life. And he will be starting his first year as the voice of Saratoga this year. Think about this. This guy was calling races at Great Lakes Downs. Used to call me in the middle of the night going, what am I doing here, Defo? What am I doing here? And I gave him my theory, which was, and applies to what we've been doing our entire lives, or at least I have. And you're about to embark on, I think, a lifetime journey in this stuff, Lubie, although you may want to reconsider.
We'll see.
No, I think you're in the right place at the right time. And I have some rationale behind that as well. But, he was one of the funniest guys I've ever met, and he was calling me from Great Lakes Downs in Michigan when the track was only open for like a year or two, and he had a disastrous run there, and he kept asking me, hey, what am I doing here? Should I just get out of here? And I always told him my same theory, which I gave to the Amigo many years ago. Remember the Amigo and Diz?
Yep.
And I believe that you're always better off having some kind of action going. I don't care what minor circuit it may be on. You're always better off having a job in this business than not having a job and being out of it.
Yep.
You want to stay on the map. Even if all we were doing and we had no sponsors or anything and we were just practicing every day, it would be worth it to just stay in touch with what it is that you want to do. And sure enough, man, this guy parlayed what would look like a career that was going into the dumper. He got the job at Monmouth Park. Then he ended up, after some trials and tribulations, getting the job at Santa Anita, a very prestigious track, although the 6-horse fields I could live without. But still, among the, biggest tracks in terms of prestige. And then the Saratoga job has to be one of the plum jobs of any announcing job that you could get, especially if you're in the racetrack industry. So he'll be doing that. So he says, you can use this line if you want. And I actually had thought along similar lines. And all you have to do is say, Furman, bad cop, good team.
I said
Should we not get those shirts printed up? Come on. Where's Marty Sachs? Marty the Party Sachs when you need him. He's supposed to come out to the track today and arrest Mayo.
Nice.
Yeah, cool. Everybody wants to get on Mayo's back about some of his opinions where, he says, well, yeah, you ordered wrong. He was at the trivia last night, Mayo?
Yeah, he did pretty well.
Oh, yeah?
By himself for the most part, and he was like top 6.
Well, what happened to Sarnie? Sarnie wouldn't participate?
Sarnie was there, but he was like, there's all these games going on. So his eyes, like, it's like you at the track. Like, he was.
Mayo couldn't get him to concentrate?
He couldn't focus at all. Mayo, I think, liked the wings, and then he texted us after I left.
Did he ever make a face? What did he do?
No, he had 10 wings, and then I left, and then he texted us about a burger, and I was like, did he have a burger too? Like,
burgers are good there, right?
No, the burgers are great, but we had left, and he had been there for a few hours. I'm like, and he had already had 10 wings. I'm like, did he have a burger? I'm like, oh, and
that's barely an appetizer for Mike Mayo.
And then I remembered, I'm like, oh, it's Mayo.
I had to try the burger before I left.
Who just tries a burger?
They're world renowned for that sort of thing, which, no, I enjoy the food at Landlubbers. The prices are certainly right.
Well, Thursday is a sick burger deal. It's like $8.99 for a half-pound burger.
Wow.
Fries, and they cook it to order. Like, you ask for medium rare, you ask for rare, because Professor's gone rare. Like, so I could see getting the burger. It's like a lot.
Well, after 10 wings, yeah. I mean, if you ate them by yourself, if you had like a couple of wings, that's one thing.
There he is.
He said he ate half when he got home.
Yeah, right. He ate it in the car. He stole from you, and he ate half the burger in the car on the ride home, 100%.
I think my guys are coming out to the track, and they may be worse than the stalker that Mayo was in fear of, because they had some kind of agenda with him about the food show. Which my friend Southern Brian happens to be. I don't know if you've ever sampled his stuff. I can't recall if you ever came over there. But no, tremendous with the barbecue grill. I mean, and also a good cook in general. So he had some things. I guess he wanted some issues he wanted to take up with Mayo on the food show. I'm not sure if Michael allowed, because he kind of brushed me off yesterday. I wanted to get in a little tribute to Miami's own. I figured he might have known this guy, Bobby Caldwell, who checked out at 71 on Wednesday and had played concerts at Gulfstream Park. Also, I saw him at the Parker Playhouse here many years ago. And who doesn't have that song in their head? It turns out it's Big Rich's favorite song. What you won't do for love. Ba-da-da-da-da. Right? I got a thing for you and I can't let it go.
Yes.
How many times have you felt that way in your lifetime?
What do you mean? Will Smith remade it into that song that he did with his son when his son was young. So I'm sure he got royalties on that too.
Many people have copied that song over the years, and you'll once in a while you'll hear somebody crank it up. Big Rich says he always puts 5. You know how you have to, when you have a request for a song and you know that the band doesn't really want to play it, or whoever it is, it might be like a solo guitarist with one of those machines or anything. Could even be a steel fucking drummer, right? And you go, hey, how about What You Won't Do for Love? And a guy looks at you with a Mayo face, and then you hold up a 5. And you're like, a 5? Wow, okay. Here you go, man. I got a thing for you, and I can't let it go. All right, is this an omen? Is this? Go ahead, let me. What were you
Well, I
going
was
to say?
saying, you talk about Mayo face. I make fun of the people out there because I'm competitive a lot in life, but when it comes
Yeah.
to trivia that I know I'm horrible at, I'm not competitive. And I always look into the crowd, or people will make a face when they give me it. Mayo the entire night, because I guess of his high intellectual academic background.
He does have like an intellectual kind of pretentiousness.
Or he
let's say.
assumed he'd do well, and he forgot
Yeah.
he was going against a professor who takes it to another level.
And the professor's out there. I mean, he's totally
He's
in another
mean.
world. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm looking over all night, and he's just grabbing his hair, and he's making the Mayo face times 10. Like, I've never seen that face.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, he kind of dismissed my tribute yesterday. I was trying to get in a word about Bobby Caldwell, and he kept talking about the French fries at Runway 84, and I'm like, French fries? You ordered the fries? I think you ordered wrong there, my friend.
Yeah, exactly. It's like ordering wrong.
He's gonna join us later on. Bad cop, good team. Furman. Should we get the T-shirts? Let's get Marty the Party Sacks on
He
that.
wants to make him. The problem is Furman has to win at least 2 rounds, or people will forget who the fuck Furman is.
Yeah, I don't know. Who do they have next, Furman? I think they get creamed in the next round, no?
Yeah, they play.
They have to go against like a giant, in the field there, a real heavyweight.
They play a 6, right? Or the 3.
Not sure. I don't have my bracket.
What did the fuck the 6 play?
I filled out one bracket on the Believe podcast system because it was like a free bracket to win $1,000. And I'm not sure that I even sent it in right. I don't even know if I submitted it correctly. Can you go back and look at your bracket on that thing, Lubie?
Supposed to be able to.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
let me, while you're talking.
Well, like most people, I whiffed on Furman. I don't know that anybody had Furman outright as a winner. Some people did. Jay Wright, speaking of Wright, former coach at Villanova, who's won championships, he said that he had Furman winning that game.
Of course he did.
Of course, it was after the fact. And then the Princeton one was almost impossible to see. There were 14.5-point underdogs, 7.5 on the money line. You were getting 7 and a hook to 1. And that probably was, an underwhelming total also, because you would have thought, hey, 30 to 1 might be more appropriate here. But speaking of that, I mean, is this an omen, Lubie? You know me. I search every morning from a New York Post. I can't have a bowel movement without having a Post. I have to decide if the Post hasn't been delivered yet, whether to take a shower first, or I don't know how much general it can be then to say shower first or just take a shit, right? Because that's going to take a while. When you get in your 70s, I never understood how my father could read like the entire cover to cover War and Peace or something. He would have like a 600-page book. He was real intellectual, my dad, and was capable of consuming these kind of pieces of literature in like no time flat. But I always wondered, hey, how could you possibly sit on a pot that long, Dad? I mean, I got things to do. I want to just get in and out of there. And here I am, years later, as an exact replica, a reasonable facsimile of what he was doing. But I can't sit there for like a long time and not read something. So I look for my Post. It wasn't there. Take a shower first. I look outside afterwards, and what's in my in front of my door? A copy of the Wall Street Journal. Instead, they said there was no Post today. Now, here, I was going to go and handicap the early pick 5 because I have pool money left over, and I couldn't wait to get to Gulfstream this afternoon. So we hit it last week, my friend Big Rich and I had made the selections, but it was largely based on chalk. And we still ended up cashing for like $254 or $245. We ended up getting out of the thing for a $56 investment, which wasn't bad, right, Lubie? We got almost 5 times our money.
Yes.
Not bad. We had to hit 5 straight races, but we did it with relative ease. I mean, there was only one race that was even close, where we only had one entry, and that one had to win, and just barely got up at the last second at like 3 to 5 to start us out. So I was going to go ahead and handicap an early pick 5, and instead I get the Wall Street Journal. And what do I get late last night? Is this an omen? Is it all tied together? What was I telling you this morning, Lubie? Greenlight Ventures about to make some giant announcement, people. So watch for it. The stock symbol is GRNL. And I'm not going to recommend that you go out and buy like hundreds of thousands of shares. But you know what? We'll be telling you about Furman after the fact. Big announcement coming, and it impacts us, Louie. I mean, this
mean,
whole venture may finally take on a whole new look. Which is
I don't know. People were reporting about you with this thing like 2 months ago, and I've heard nothing about it.
kind of interesting, the way these things transpire very slowly, my friend. Very slowly, with a lot of, what would you say? Curious elements that have to come together. But no, it seems to be going well. Greenlight Ventures, GRNL, Greenlight Ventures. And, it could end up making a big score because Lubie and I are counting on them now for our future. But why would they send me to Wall Street Journal instead of the Post today so I could handicap Aqueduct from the toilet seat? What do you think, Lubie?
I don't know.
Based purely on going against the public handicapper, who usually you have to figure if that guy hits one race on the card, it's a miracle.
Pretty much.
So, and is giving out the favorite in every race, essentially. Although, I would have to say this guy De Silva in the Post at least ventures out, steps out there every once in a while and picks a horse that, has a price over 2-1, which you may not find from a lot of public handicappers. Got some bug flying around in here, Louie. That's very unusual. Right in my face. Unbelievable. All right, so that's also a sign from the gods of gambling, and it's time to move on to some gambling and degeneracy.
Yes.
The Greek is going to join us, a series of superstars lining up here to help us out with our handicapping, especially with day 2 of the NCAA Tournament. 2 games that I was most interested in. Both take place today with the University of Miami against Drake. Did you see Omer kind of bouncing around there a little bit in practice? Did you see those clips?
I hope so. Look, again, Segredo, and we talked about it. I don't think it's horrendous to trot him out there and just see. I would just play it by ear, see how the game goes, and decide.
Well, I mean, he probably would be able to judge. He was taking shots. It wasn't like he was, jumping up and down on a trampoline or anything, but he was taking some shots, and he seemed comfortable, on his 2 feet. Wow, this bug is like a dive bomber.
Take a break, and we'll have the Greek.
What am I going to spray in here, man? This thing's going to fly into my mouth here if I keep opening it up.
They'll follow you.
Really, a dive bomber bug. Incredible. All right, the Greek's coming up. We're going to have Mark Lawrence also. Mark is always great on this kind of stuff. I mean, his analysis might have come up with all kinds of permutations to arrive at Princeton. And then also the professor, a big board coming your way. And Mike Mayo will tell us how the burgers were at Landlubbers last night. So you say he finished like mid-pack on his own? That's pretty impressive.
He did pretty well for being by himself. We just had weirdly high scores yesterday. So Mayo.
Did the Chronics run away with the title?
Were second, and Andy's team without Andy was first.
What kind of Andy's team without Andy? Where was Andy?
Andy goes usually once every 3 weeks.
Okay.
Him.
Because we worry if he doesn't show up somewhere where he's supposed to be, right? Remember that time in Vegas? I was like thinking 3 days into it. Didn't Andy come out here on the trip?
Oh, Jesus.
No. Have you ever gone to the Vegas airport with or on a trip to Vegas with people? I mean, you mostly have traveled just like with your wife at the time or whatever.
With us.
Girl you happen to be with. But have you ever gone and then when you're coming back, there's a person unaccounted for? That's happened to me. Seriously, I mean, where you went with 10 people and there were only 9 at the airport when the departing flight was about to take off. I've had that happen.
I presume.
Yeah.
I think this next gentleman has had that too.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Vegas.
The Greek going to join us in just a moment here on the Defo Show. Degenerate Friday is underway, and we will be at the track later on with Mike. That's going to be 12 o'clock. And I don't know, did they do like a St. Patty's Day thing out there?
I'm presuming Joe
Beja might do it, yeah.
Tournament stuff, but it is St. Patrick's Day, so maybe they combine like wings and corned beef stuff, like.
What does an overdose of corned beef do to you? I mean, if you're eating corned beef for like days at a time.
Make you sick? I don't know.
Yeah, you think? I don't know.
It's a lot of fat.
All right, we'll see how the Greek is doing. He's always, he's been on a roll lately. Yes. In many ways. Remember, I mean, he spent those 2 years just. It's a waste of time to grouse about being jilted in a relationship or losing the girl of your dreams. I mean, look, have another dream. You're going to go to sleep tonight. You could dream up somebody else.
Have another dream up someone else.
No, but to give up like 2 years walking around in a daze, I can't believe what happened to me. I mean, think about it. And we've all done it, right? Over something, whether you lost a job, or you lost a girl, or your wife left you, or got jilted in a business deal by your best friend. I mean, everybody's had something like this. Lost a series of photos, got disqualified from a pick six. These are the things that are important in life.
I was going to say, well, where's gambling? There it is.
I'm not sure that the message that we are presenting to people here is deep enough to be considered significant, is it? What do you think, Lubie? Because a lot of guys that do talk shows think they're going to like say something that's important, and we know that's never going to be the case. We don't fool ourselves. We know it's all bullshit. All right, the Greek coming up. We're going to try and get to the bottom of what might transpire today. And there should be a lot of theoretical stuff going about UM and Drake.
Yeah.
UM and Drake. I mean, Drake, we know, coach's son. That's always dangerous. And the 25-year-old. Those are the two running themes there. And with Miami, it's just like all about this O'Meara kid all of a sudden, as if he was the only guy on the team. So I think Jim Larinaga finds a way to pull it off. I really do. Although I thought the Canes had tailed off a little bit, even though they were still winning games. I thought they had tailed off from what level they were playing at much earlier in the season when they rattled off like 9 in a row. Yep. And watch out for the Dukies, my friend. I know the professor is reluctant to embrace this, but I
that was annoying.
They're playing well.
That was the easiest win of any of the games. There was never. They were up like I look up like 18-0. Like, is this a football game? I'm like, what the fuck?
I think in my Believe bracket, I had them going to the Final Four before getting knocked out. I think they were a team that was on the rise, and just because of the inherent hatred of anything to do with Duke, I think a lot of people were overlooking the way that they were playing. All right, back with more in a moment. Now that
the time
it's 7:28.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched. Steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? So why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752. Why go up against insurance companies alone when you can have Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa on your side?
Now, you say, Greek, that you're not any kind of a golfer, like you never got into the game at all?
No, I'll go to the range, and I'll hit some balls in the morning. I like doing that early.
How ugly are the shots? I mean, are they bad?
Not bad.
Not bad.
I've taken a couple lessons. I actually I went down to Doral years ago. My buddy was a great golfer, and he got me some lessons with a professional golfer. But we ended up, I kid you not, getting 2 hookers, and that went awry.
Oh, geez, Greek.
No worries. Defo is here now. Welcome back to the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show. A Degenerate Friday underway here on the Defo Show, and good to have you guys with us here on South Florida Live and our other platforms, including 5 Reasons Sports Network, which, by the way, the whole fiasco with the Defo on 5 has been finally straightened out. And Monday we will begin diligently posting these things really early in the morning, and it's going to happen every day because now Lubie is in charge. If you don't do it yourself, it doesn't get done. I know a man that embraces this philosophy 1,000%.
Yes,
and he joins us right now. And it's always a pleasure to have this gentleman on the program. We love this guy, man. He's a character's character. And we welcome the Greek to the show. Greek, how are you, my friend?
Doing good, guys. How are you on this Friday, March Madness, St. Patrick's Day?
Good morning,
and it's also your sister's ass day that is not celebrated enough. How are you today?
We're great because later on today we're heading out to Gulfstream Park, one of our favorite places to be employed, and doing a show out there with Mike Mayo. And I intend to dive in on several different ventures with some pool money that I managed to accumulate last week at the track. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, Greek, help us out with this because it's happened to me, and I'm assuming, and Lubie naturally assumed it had to have happened to you, where you go to Vegas with a bunch of people, say it's a group of 4, 8, 10, whatever, and when you get to the airport to leave, there's at least one person unaccounted for. Has that happened to you?
Yes.
You didn't even think about it.
You're looking around like, hey, where the fuck is Joe? And it's like, I don't know. We went to the Bunny Ranch. That was the last we heard from him. That was Tuesday. Meanwhile, you're leaving on like a Thursday.
Yeah, it's happened a couple of times. Well, we did so many radio shows out there for years with iHeart.
Yeah.
We used to go out 2-3 times a year, and it would always be a problem. And, counting for people, especially, when you got females with you and stuff like that. There's always somebody who, just can't get up or is out too late or, stuff like that. I mean, I'm an early bird guy, that early stuff. And most people like that. They like to say, But, yeah, it definitely happens. And then you got to be like a mother and find them and stuff like that. We had a girl one time went missing for 2 days.
No.
Where's your first call? Is it the police? Is it hospitals? Is it brothels? I mean, where is your first call?
We just hit it on the head.
Trying to find somebody.
I think the first call we got was from her husband.
Yeah.
We couldn't get her. And then, we ended up finding her, but it was about a day and a half, 2 days. I really wasn't worried about it, to be honest with you.
You're all business, Greek, man. Your father gave you a great work ethic. He really did. You dress well, you smell good, you look, the part. I mean, you look prosperous, which is always a key if you're going to be in, any kind of sales event. And let's face it, we're all trying to sell something, whether it's ourselves or, for sure, merchandise or property.
He goes, I smell money.
It's great. Now, question 2 then, along those same lines, which happened to me, although I wasn't able to actually execute this, and I was stuck with the woman the entire time. But have you ever traveled to Vegas in the company of a woman and sent her back before the trip was over and stayed out there for the remainder of the time yourself? Now you would remember, Greek. Yeah, you wouldn't have to think about this. Yeah.
Yes.
I there was a time when I was a very young person.
Yeah.
And I went to Vegas with a girl, and I was 18 and she was 16. And
oh, wow.
we were supposed to be going. Yeah, we were supposed to be going to do something for our school.
Is that even legal in Vegas? 16? What's the statute of limitations on this kind of crime?
Junior, probably. I mean, that's
I knew somebody I didn't have to duke them. No, she was 17. She was 17.
Yeah, it's like a
she was
senior and a
17.
junior.
17. Okay. All right.
I mean, it's like
Yeah, we were gonna go down to Jersey Shore, and it was raining, and I said, "You want to go to Vegas?" And she was like, "I went to Vegas in my life." And this is the time, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when you could just go to the airport and get a ticket.
Yes.
So we flew there, and then her father found out the next day, and he was a little upset. And,
you've got this underage woman in Vegas while you're only 18, Greek.
I was 18, so I said to him, I said, if anybody's taking advantage of anybody, pal, it's your daughter on me. But
at 18, you were shooting back wisecracks to the girl's parents. That's what makes you the Greek. I mean, you have been yourself your entire life.
I said, you seem like a smart man, and you made a beautiful daughter, but I learned something a long time ago that I'm sure you already know because you're older than me. Possession is 9/10 of the law. And I'm looking at your daughter on my couch.
Yeah, she looks good naked, Pops. I hope you didn't throw that in there, Greek.
I did not say that. I have ultimate respect for everybody. No, she had to go back. He wasn't happy.
All right.
He was not happy that she was there. But he liked me, and he's a guy who used to bet baseball. I get picks every once in a while, so it worked out. But no, never. I never sent the girl back early. I wish I did many times because it would have
Yes.
saved me a ton of money.
Yeah, gambling for two doesn't work. I don't know if that was part of it, but God forbid you should be on a hot streak while she wants to go see shows, and you're saying this is a show, man. My numbers keep coming in on the roulette wheel. How the hell am I going to go see like Donny Osmond? Forget about it.
I was with this girl one weekend, maybe 3 days. And every time I would win, I would throw her a couple $100 chips.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two, maybe
Right.
one time like 3. So Monday we're in the airport, we're going back, and I don't know, we needed a cab or something, and I didn't have anything small. She was, let me check. And I opened, and I saw her like whip out all this cash. I go, where did you get that from? And she goes, you. I go, me? She goes, yeah, you kept giving me chips, and she was just before we left, that cash, she had like 2,700.
You're broke, right? You can't even pay the cab to McCarran. That's great.
Yeah. I go, you got 2,700? She goes, yeah, you give me 200, 100, 300. She goes, I just put it in my purse. She goes, when we left, I cashed out.
I always hate that, but then I want some of the money back. I mean, anytime, and it's been rare that I was that far ahead that I could afford to give somebody else money. But it has happened where you wanted some of that cash back.
You keep quiet. Yeah, you give them money, you give them quiet. I thought like maybe she's shopping or banging around or doing something, but no, so she had a great weekend. She was in season all weekend shopping with me, and she goes on with 2,700. And I got lip on the pocket.
Yeah, I still have nightmares about the time I was at the Bellagio, and I was at the counter, and I was with a woman who didn't believe in knockoffs or fakes or anything like that. And we were in there was a shop there, Judith Lieber, I believe, is a designer. In that mode where you're looking at the thing and it looks like a complete atrocity, like something you would have flunked shop if you ever tried to offer it up in like metal shop. Meanwhile, it goes for like 9 dimes, some little purse or something, something to hold makeup. So I get to the cash register and she had picked something out that was like $500. I was pretty flush at the time, so it wasn't going to necessarily dent me. And I thought this would be good. We had just started a relationship, maybe a couple of months before. And when I get to the cash, they whack my. I had an American Express card at the time, and they whacked this card for 6 dimes. And I thought, wait a minute, man! It said 500. Now, what do you do? The woman's already walked outside by the flower bed there. You know that botanical garden they got outside there, where all the women go while you're getting buried. They may as well just throw the flowers on your chest while you're paying. And it turns out that they rang up the wrong thing. There was something else that somebody had left on the counter.
Oh, God.
And she rang that up for the 6,000. Yeah, wow. You
out.
talk about a panic attack, man. I was schwitzing. It was unbelievable. I looked like they.
Your father's going to take it. That's the good thing.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah. I look like Moses Malone up there at the cash register. I mean, just sweat dripping off my chin straight onto the floor.
6,000, I would have went crazy. That's like my friends 2 weeks ago. They and I won't do this anymore. They like going out to dinner, and they like playing like throw your card in the middle, and then one guy picks up the
I
No way.
hate that.
No way.
Yeah, I'm not
Get outta
doing it. I did it one time. I'm like, no. I'm like, dude, I don't even eat. You guys are drinking Jameson.
Yeah,
like
you don't even drink.
Right.
Yeah.
Why do you get fucked?
Yeah, so I was like,
That's called getting fucked when the check comes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. Yeah. Anybody who wants to do something, it's good for them.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like anything in life. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
You
sure.
get a bill, my friends go, oh, it's not bad. You want to pay it?
Yeah, that happened to me in Saratoga. Although my card wasn't drawn, which was fortunate. The person who suggested it, who was a multi-billionaire on her own, she ended up having to pay. But it was her idea to do this. I'm like, wait a minute, man. I mean, if anybody could pick up a check here, it's you, right?
Yeah.
Come on, Kathy. Let's get serious here. I'm not picking this one up. Yeah.
It's usually the people who are broke or the richest who want to do it.
Richest, yeah. They want out. They want to bail out on this thing.
Exactly.
All right. Speaking of bailouts, I don't know. I mean, how'd you make out yesterday, Greek? And then we want your picks for today on the tournament because it was wildly entertaining. You know what's great about it? I mean, it's wall to wall. I watched a lot of basketball in the beginning, and then I'm tuning in here and there. Did various things yesterday, Took a late night walk of life last night. Got back home about 10:15, and there's still plenty of basketball being played. So, I mean, it was a real carnival, a festival of college basketball. How did you fare, and what do you have for us today?
Well, I know that yesterday it was 8-8 as far as 11-5 as far as the favorites winning, but it was 8-8 right down the middle with favorites and underdogs.
Okay.
I think a lot of brackets got broken up with Virginia and also Arizona, two big upsets.
Sure.
They said a lot of brackets got crushed with that. I was men to men. I like Duke. I bet Duke in Vegas 7-1 to win to get to the Final Four.
Oh wow!
Nice.
So that's
I would say that's a decent bet, Greek. Not bad the way they're playing.
Well, I mean, only a good bet is the only bet you win. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
Well, we'll see. I mean, but that's the only thing I bet. And then yesterday, I liked Texas A&M last night. I lost. I had Duke during the day, and I had another one. I think I went 2-1 for the day. But today, I like Baylor laying 10.5.
Okay.
Our FAU Owls are playing tough game against Memphis.
Yeah.
And
you love them, man. You've been riding their back the entire year, which is great.
Is really good.
Yeah, I really have. So I might have to go with FAU. Kane's playing Drake today,
What do you
I
think?
don't know
Omir.
I don't know if that center's playing or not. The kid who got hurt.
We don't know.
I would say it's like 30-70 against, but there is a chance.
Kane's got great guards. I don't know. I think they should be able to get past Drake. I hope. I want to see them, do good. And I like Indiana. Indiana and Baylor today are my two picks. But I'm rooting for FAU and the Kings.
Okay, that sounds good. Greek, where are you going to be taking any action? You always have a very full social calendar.
I think I'm going to an adult entertainment place tonight. They have the best TVs. So I want to go there.
Yeah. Would that be Monroe's?
It could be, yeah.
They have a good stage there at Monroe's.
Yeah. You're not the kind that's hanging out like at the bar for the free lunch at the Cheetah.
No.
That's not you.
I just want, send me back one girl that's a 15, and that'll be fine. Not a 10. You want a 15.
We never saw you, no matter how many times we invited you down at the remotes at Porky's from the kitchen at Porky's in Hialeah.
We got to get together for dinner soon.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yes, absolutely. Especially, we'll do that credit card thing. Yeah,
we'll do the credit card.
Lubie and I will have a Shell and a Texaco card, and you'll have like a Black American Express. That'll be great.
That'll be expired.
You'll be like, what do you mean it doesn't go through? Try it again.
Expired AARP card, yeah. They have you listed as deceased.
Here.
Have you ever left a girl in Vegas? That'll be the title of our book, Greek. Let's write one together, man. We'll put a couple of chapters out there.
Yeah, I think we should write one together. Have you ever let her? I was telling some guys stories the other night.
Yeah.
Two stories off the top of my head. Oh, my God. And this guy was such a nice guy. He was that Strikes, older gentleman. He just, when I got up, he put his hand on my lap, and he goes, you know what? I haven't laughed that much in years. He goes, I wish I was you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, those stories are true. And they had nothing to do with drugs or alcohol.
Yeah,
I mean, I remember your therapist telling you that. After you, had spilled your guts. I mean, poured your soul. The essence of your bowels were laying there on the couch. And, the guy looks at you and says, hey, you know what? I wish I was you.
That's great.
Exactly true.
The pain, doesn't, outweigh the thrill of living a good life. All right, thanks, Greek. Always a pleasure, my friend. Have a good one. And we love you. The Greek, ladies and gentlemen. Professor coming up. Professor should be on his game today, man.
He was actually
I think he did well yesterday. Yeah.
On his picks here.
Yeah.
He didn't go with Virginia.
He did not.
Don't go all in on Furman. He wasn't saying Furman can't win. He was just saying don't run to the windows for Furman. And he wasn't wrong. Like
No, they should have never won that game. I believe, the way it was playing out, it looked like they were going to cover the 5 and a hook.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Obviously in the final 4 seconds when this kid throws the ball away, there was no way that they were going to lose to the spread, Furman. But to win the game, it was just absolutely insane. And that's happened before, right? Virginia had suffered a loss of that magnitude a few years back, didn't they?
They're the only one seed. Still
Yeah.
to this day, the only one seed is Virginia. Like 3 years ago or 4 years ago.
Well, and you played that kind of low scoring, close to the vest type of game. I thought they had gone away from that, though. I thought the professor told us they had opened it up a little bit.
Last year, remember last year they scored a little more. I think this he went back to being Virginia.
But you're in jeopardy there, and they weren't able to. I mean, that was one of the most horrendous decisions by a guard in NCAA history. I mean, that was very much like the timeout, Chris Webber, right?
Yep.
That kind of play.
Yep. And it was a guard. That's the funny thing is it wasn't like a big man who's an oaf.
Yeah.
It was their guard.
Well, wouldn't you? I mean, at the very worst, just throw the ball off the guy's crotch.
Or just eat. They had a timeout. That's the one thing. Ken was like, they had timeout.
I thought they did, yeah.
They did. And you're a guard. Take the timeout and then move it to the side and then throw it to the other.
And then so as long as you throw it to the deep corner on your offensive end, you're going to be okay unless it goes out of bounds, right?
Just keep it inbounds.
Yeah.
Like that was the thing. Like if he was doing that, then he needed to throw it a lot harder. It wasn't even a hard throw. He threw it to like half court. It's like if you're doing that flail up in the air bullshit.
Oh no, that was from the position he was in. That's a disaster because there was no way he could get enough on that ball to get it much past midcourt. And there was a guy wide open down the end of the court. I don't know that that's even something that this guy saw, because then he also would have seen the Furman player standing right there at the midcourt stripe by himself, which you just couldn't get enough on that pass to get it all the way down the other end of the floor. That there was no way. The announcers were speculating that he thought maybe by just heaving it up there that the rest of the time would evaporate off the clock. Which
it would have if he had thrown it high. Like when they do the high crap, which is legal, but he didn't. He threw like a regular pass right to Furman.
Well, he kind of heaved it from a very low position while being double teamed in the corner, and he was really boxed and pressed into the corner. And I mean, if you played any ball, even for even your peewee kids, Lubie.
Yep.
Would know that, if you've ever tried that before, it does not, there's no way that's going to work.
That's the only time I've ever seen that. It was my nephew, and he's actually not bad at basketball, but he got into this habit this last year where once he would get stormed, he'd go, oh no, and he would just fling it. I'm like, who are you flinging it to, Liam? Who are you flinging it to? Like I had flashbacks watching that play. I'm like, you're a grown man.
You could have drawn it up on the sidelines. That would have been great. All of this time these coaches spend, and they're strategizing, and they're going over sabermetrics and analytics, and they got like a staff of 12 guys to coach 12 basketball players. And then, their fate boils down to something that stupid. There's no way that you could account for that. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment. Don't forget about our friends at Hialeah Park. Check them out. HialeahPark.com has all the information that you would need about upcoming events at beautiful Hialeah Park. Got the Triple Crown Series coming up. A lot of big races. I think there's a big weekend. Don't they have the Fairgrounds has their big race for 3-year-olds coming up? What is that? Is that the Louisiana Derby?
I don't know. It seems like every weekend there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
At Hialeah Park.
Well, I mean, we're really heading into that time of the year, and we're 2 weeks away from the Florida Derby at Gulfstream Park. You can catch the simulcast there or play some poker. Got to get Mayo down there for some poker. I think you would enjoy the poker room there.
I'm down.
And, of course, the casino is among the Mustangs' favorite casinos anywhere on the planet. She's had some scores, but always does very well at Hialeah because the machines are pairing out at an incredibly high rate compared to any other casino here in town. Yep. Isn't that what you want, people? You want a chance to win. Yep. That's what it's all about. It's Herm Edwards City down there at Hialeah Park. It's great. All kinds of good things happening all the time at Hialeah Park, including the Friday festivities, which are brilliant out there on the outdoor patio. Man, I wanted to start dancing, Libby, and I can't dance. I'm an old fat Jew. I can barely even get out of bed anymore. I'll do my walk of life, sit down, and then I'm waiting for the time where I bend down and I absolutely can't get up anymore. It's Quasimodo City. That's going to happen, right? Okay. So it's not that far away, which is the scary part, right? Because even, while exercising, I'm sitting there going, my knees are shot. Jeez. I'm thinking about, I can't wait to go and get like double injections there just so, it can all go smoothly again. No, actually, it's holding up pretty well in that regard. But there is nothing like the euphoria of walking into Hialeah Park. It will eliminate your pain. You can throw your crutches away, whatever. You're in a wheelchair, boom, all of a sudden you're standing up because they're giving you a fair shake there, which is like going to heaven if you're a casino player. So you're going to love it. Beautiful, Hialeah Park. All right, the Professor right around the corner. We'll have a big board, some college picks. 5-0 yesterday on the selections he gave out on the show.
Yes.
5-0. And what do we remember? That he kind of pushed us away from Furman. Isn't that amazing, right? A guy could give you like just a stack of winners. And what do? You parlay your one game that you liked, and you lose the whole thing.
100%.
No, this guy's dynamite on college basketball. I mean, I have the highest order of respect for all of the people we're about to bring you here on the college basketball circuit, including the Greek. But Mark Lawrence going to join us as well. Professor up next here on the Defo Show on a Degenerate Friday. Now that.
The time.
It's 7:52. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. You know, since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Brian Flores had just kept his mouth shut, collected his $100,000 per loss checks, and done his job. That was what you were hired for, asshole. You weren't down here to compete. You weren't down here to try to win games. You were hired to lose games so we could get the number one pick in the draft, you piece of trash. And then you've got the nerve to sue your boss because you refuse to lose your boss's instruction. And you know what? I hope you stay with the Pittsburgh Steelers, because I hope Joe Burrow kicks your ass twice a year for the rest of your life, because that's what you deserve for not doing your job, you piece of garbage.
Well stated, Professor. All right, I can't even imagine where we're going with number one.
Honestly, can you imagine if you're the Arizona Cardinals right now and you are getting ready to possibly hire this man as your head coach? If I'm Kyler Murray's agent, I'm calling the Cardinals front office and say, that's fine. Trade my client right fucking now. Do not put this bum anywhere near my player who you just signed for $200 million. Do not put this piece of garbage. If I see Ryan Fitzpatrick in Las Vegas because it's 100 miles from Phoenix, I want everybody in the front office fired or my client out of this franchise.
The best way to kick off your day is with Defo plus Lubie. We now return to the Defo Show.
He's a big Brian Flores fan. The Professor joins us now off a perfecto, man. I mean, he went out there like Sandy Koufax and just mowed him down yesterday. We welcome to our Degenerate Friday program. One of our favorites here, and always great when it comes to college basketball, college football. The Professor joins us here on the show. Professor, how are you? You have to be feeling pretty good. I don't know. Did you already extract some of that money from the account, or just letting it ride and going into today's action feeling
Of course, you're letting it
very
ride.
brave?
I mean, you got 3 weeks to go on this. You can't give up after one day. Come on,
Wow.
man. I got to say, by the way, I caught the tail end of the segment when I was logging in here. If Lubie's 6-year-old nephew made the same play that Virginia kid play, I'd cut that kid. You're a loser. Get off my team.
Wow.
What's wrong with you?
I mean, anybody that's played sports has been in a situation, where especially you're bent over in the corner there with a double trap on you, and you
Call a
got the ball.
timeout. You had a timeout left. Jerk off.
How is he not aware to do that? I mean, that's the crazy thing.
Honestly, that might have been the wildest 5 seconds of basketball I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
Furman comes down. They're down. What was it? 4.
Yes.
They get a foul called, which was completely not a foul.
Right.
The Virginia kid completely blocked it clean. Then the foul was on Furman's big, who's like Chris Dudley-esque at the free throw line.
A bricklayer.
Beyond horrible,
Yeah.
but somehow makes 2. Then you get the inbound play. Then the Furman kid throws at the other kid who's still got 5 seconds left. He's got plenty of time for a dribble, but just pulls up Trae Young style from 27 feet and bottoms out like that. Honestly, that's right up there with anything I've ever seen in terms of an extended sequence. So that was nuts.
Crazy, yeah. I mean, and you were watching, and thinking, how many bricks are they going to throw up there from 3-point range? And then this kid hits.
I do have to say,
it was Leitner-esque. I mean, at that point, was it not?
Wow, really? Leitner-esque? So what? He stopped on somebody?
I mean, a miracle they got the ball, and then on top of that, the guy
I think Leitner-esque means something different in your dictionary than it does in mine, because in mine, it says having the quality of a scumbag is what Leitner.
Oh, well, yeah, then it involves Duke, which, by the way, Professor, I would have to say, I mean, even with your feelings about Duke, which are very deep rooted, as are most people's, playing some pretty good basketball. No.
Big deal. You beat up on a team that started the game 0 for 15 from the field. Color me impressed. So what? Honestly.
Right. So you're dismissing them
it's
entirely.
A happy day, and overall it was a happy day. But I do have to say this is also one of my angriest days of the year, Defo.
Why is that?
Because this is the year where every jerk-off donkey who only watches college basketball during the tournament pretends like these Ivy League kids are some lovable little underdogs. Really? Really? You're trying to tell me Princeton is a feel-good story? Honestly, these kids, they're all going to go on $1 million jobs where they're ringers for some top 500 law firm. And their only job is to play amateur rec league basketball so that the firm wins the league title. Right. But I'm supposed to feel like they're the gritty little underdogs. No, screw Princeton and screw all you Ivy League people who are trying to make me feel like, oh, go gritty little Ivy League kids. Screw those kids.
There was no mention of any gritty little Ivy League teams before the tournament. Then I'm watching one of the post-game shows, and Jay Wright, who seemed to be a very likable guy, is saying, "Oh yeah, you got to watch out for the Ivy League." Yeah.
Pete Carrill.
Pete Carrill, man, is he
won
still
10
alive?
Ivy League titles. Big deal. That's like winning in a wheelchair league. Who the hell cares? Have you ever seen the Special Olympics? You know that sport where they have the hockey?
God.
You know that sport where they have the hockey goal and they have people who are literally blindfolded defending the hockey goal while the other guy chucks the ball at it?
Yeah.
That's what Ivy League basketball essentially is to me. Right?
With apologies to the Duke, who is the
I'm not impressed with
66 Harvard team.
And Pete Carrill. Maybe I wasn't around in the 60s. Maybe back then. I know Ivy League sports in general in previous generations were much more serious and competitive.
Sure. Yeah.
I just hate the whole, the Ivy League is really, honestly, we live in a state run by a Yale graduate. I know what Ivy League people are really like. Don't try. And speaking of politicians, I got to say, and I basically like the guy. I think Biden's a decent dude. Maybe not the greatest president so far, but man, can this guy not get a break? He puts out a bracket, and who does he pick for the national championship? Arizona.
Yeah.
No.
Wow. Honestly.
I don't think Trump won't pick up on it.
You can't catch a break, Joe.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's just ugly.
But wasn't Obama, the mean for always going with chalk?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, that seems to be a presidential trend.
Because like Obama's thing every year was like 3 number 1 seeds and a number 2 seed. It was always like the hot number 2 seed coming in.
Yeah.
Like again, I respected a lot of the things Obama did. I think overall he's a very good president.
Yes.
I don't respect the handicapping. Like honestly, you were definitely a chalk eating pig, Barack. Let's be honest. And if we're being brutally honest, you usually pick like the blue blood teams. You know, you're like, oh yeah, I have Carolina and Duke and Kentucky and Kansas. Oh, ballsy picks, Mr. President.
Yeah, it wasn't like he stepped out there on a limb. Yeah, exactly. Probably had Gonzaga a couple of years there where they were going to get knocked out in the second round. All right, let's get to some picks, and then we have the professor's big board. 5-0 yesterday. The professor, a brilliant performance, and hopefully, I would imagine you cashed handsomely because I know you were. Do you step up the enthusiasm or stay disciplined because it's the first round of the NCAA tournament?
Like any other situation, it depends on the games. There's games we like 1 unit. There's games we like up to 5 units, and everything in between.
All right, so I'm thinking a substantial profit yesterday. Did Lubie get in on any of the action? Was he able to?
No, I don't think Lubie's a basketball man. Lubie, I know, will jump on football every once in a while, but I'm not sure I've actually ever gotten Lubie to go in on a hoops game.
Okay, all right. Yeah, he, I guess before we get into the big board, quick thought on. You didn't give your picks yet, so it might be one of your games. Go ahead.
Okay, a few to run down here. Number one, we're going to start with the first tip-off game. That's USC getting 1.5 from Sparty. I'm 100% on USC here. I know there are still Tom Izzo acolytes out there. I am not one of them. His teams have disappointed in the tournament for a number of years now. I think that trend will continue. And honestly, I don't think Sparty's that strong a team. I think they are massively overseeded at number 7. I think you could have made a case for them being one of the last 4 in. I think you could have made a case for them being where Penn State was last night. Penn State finished the season a lot better than Sparty did. This one's a mystery to me. 10 seeds were very live yesterday, including Penn State smashing Texas A&M, one of the ones we called, and I think we're going to get another one. I think USC is not only going to win this game, I wouldn't be surprised if they beat up on Sparty pretty badly. Sparty, for a number of years now, offensively incompetent, and that trend continues this year. So first game of the day, we're taking USC.
The Trojans, maybe. All right, sounds good.
Okay, that takes us to the 2 o'clock slots. I like VCU over St. Mary's here. I was not impressed with the way St. Mary's closed the year. Got absolutely buried by Gonzaga twice late in the year. Their defense didn't look competent at all. And St. Mary's, the pace they play at, if they even have a brief defensive lapse throughout any period of the game, they're going to flat out lose. And VCU, they do run hot and cold offensively, but they are an excellent defensive team. Wouldn't be surprised if this game is played in a very low margin. The 122 reflects that in the total. I wouldn't be shocked to go under, but instead of the under, we're taking VCU in the points because 4 in this game would not be that big a margin, honestly. Number bouncing around between 4 and 5, depending on where you look at it. I'm showing it at 4 right now, but VCU plus the 4 would be where I'd go with that one.
All right, beautiful. That's 2 picks from the professor. How much deeper do you go?
We got a couple more here.
All right.
We got Kentucky and Providence. I think if you had played this game a month, maybe 6 weeks ago, you would have seen a total line reversal, and you probably would have seen Providence win the game. But Providence has been very beat up over the last month, both in terms of results and in terms of injury. Kentucky, on the other hand, comes in playing pretty hot basketball. And Calipari is obviously, when you're not looking for him, has made a number of surprising tournament runs. Wouldn't be surprised to see him do it again this year. I think you're getting a pretty discounted line given the way Providence finished the year. So Kentucky -4. That's our next one. I believe that's a 7 o'clock slot game.
All right.
Yep.
Then bounce back real quick to the 4 o'clock slots. Forgot about this one. That's Creighton and NC State. NC State looked okay the end of the season. Their guard play at times very impressive offensively, although defensively at times seriously lacking. But I like this Creighton team. I think they've got scoring all over the floor. They don't always play great team defense, but Cockbrenner in the middle there, the 7-footer, is an elite rim protector, maybe the best rim protector in the country. And I think that'll bother an NC State team that really does count on going to the basket and finishing in the paint. So I think at 5, Creighton's kind of a bonus there. So Creighton -5. And that takes us to the big one, the final one, the one that people down here will not like, and that's Memphis -2. I don't see this as a competitive game at all. We're talking about units.
FAU,
I think this is one to go the full 5 units on.
Wow.
I don't see this as a competitive game, at least. Memphis should have beaten Houston to close the regular season, did beat Houston in their conference final. Comes in hot as a pistol, more athletic, bigger than FAU at every position. FAU may be a little bit sharper in terms of execution, but I don't think this is a game that's going to matter. It's just like when Memphis played a similar team to start the tournament last year. I'm blanking on who it was, but it was a small conference school. I don't think FAU has the athletes to even stay in this game. I like Memphis, and I like Memphis big in this spot.
Wow, going to be a disappointment for a lot of the local fans here who jumped on the bandwagon of the
Again, FAU's had a great season, and I think if they had caught a different matchup, they would have a shot against a lot of teams. They just happen to run into a team. Memphis, skill-wise, might not be blue-chip level or top level, but athlete-wise, they're as good as anybody in the country. I mean, all over the court, tons of athletic ability, and I think that'll be just too much for FAU. And they like to pressure the ball. So when you have big, long, tall, athletic guys that play ball pressure, I think that plays havoc with an execution-based team like FAU.
All right, excellent stuff, and hopefully the same or close to the same level of success yesterday. You can't do much better than 5-0, as the professor.
You could go 6-0.
Yeah. I mean, that Furman thing was a bit of a fluke, but as you prefaced before you started speaking about honestly, it, you weren't playing that game.
I didn't play the game. I was just worried about it because it's the public pick, and it worked out. Congrats to the bracket busters out there.
Excellent. All right, Professor, let's do it. I don't know if you have a tournament-related big board.
You did say you had one you wanted to talk about. Was it the FAU game? Was that the one you?
Oh no, the Canes and Drake.
You know what? It's an interesting game because I've been talking up Drake, but I did not expect the line to go all the way down to 2.
Wow.
On that spot, I would almost say at 2, you got to kind of think about maybe bounce back, sitting and taking Miami. Although 2 would tend to indicate to me that somebody out there is pretty convinced Omeyer's not going to play, and that would make for a tough situation. I'm going to leave that one alone, even though I like I said, I talked up Drake yesterday, and I will continue to. But I think at 2, like Miami's guards are difficult to defend, and that could be a problem for Drake in this spot. I think even if things go pretty well for Drake, it could be a close game. So at 2, I'm just hands off. Enjoy it.
Yeah. Nigel Pack's got to hit a couple of those shots from the Coke machine to make it happen, I think, for Miami today. I did see Omer bouncing up and down a little bit in a practice. They had some video of the practice on Wednesday.
Play, particularly in this matchup, that would be huge for UM.
No doubt. I mean, emphasis on the word huge, as in big.
And then even more so, still figuring they'll probably play Indiana. The winner will probably play Indiana in the second round. If they play Indiana, they'll 100% have to have him. So, again, that would be very encouraging for Canes basketball fans. And look, when he was healthy, Miami looked like a team that could actually contend at making a run here, maybe even making a deep run. Yeah. And it's a pretty friendly bracket. So, again, if he makes that Willis Reed-like return for Miami, could portend big things coming for the Canes.
Let's hope so. I mean, we're going to be rooting for Coach Larinaga and the Canes basketball team. All right, Professor, let's do it. The big board for this week.
Obviously, Defo, our mind and much of the sports world's mind has been on the tournament from Selection Sunday to the play-in games to the tip-off yesterday. And obviously, the other place everybody's mind goes is St. Patrick's Day. So, you get drunk and you watch basketball and you do Irish things. So, I personally, I'm going to catch the 12 o'clock games, and then I'm going to go bomb some English civilians. And
yes,
try to find a Protestant whose family I can do violence against.
Right.
And then I'm going to go try to catch the Canes game to cap off the evening. Now, but the one place outside of the world of basketball that sports has been very interesting this week was on Twitter. So this week's big board is recapping this week in sports Twitter. And we've got that as the big board. And we're going to start with number 5, which is one of my personal favorites. And that, sorry. We went one too far. And that is Scotty Scheffler's menu for the Champions Dinner at Augusta gets announced. And Jesus Christ. I mean, let's be honest. Pretty much the rest of the world hates American white males. Yes. And if you're ever wondering why, this menu is why. Because we have access to the finest chefs in the world. We have access to a dinner which is attended by like the richest and most powerful people on the planet.
Right.
We have a dinner here where Donald Trump has been wanting to join Augusta National for 1,000 years and can't get in. That's how exclusive this is. They exclude the presidents of the United States from membership at Augusta National. You're Scotty Scheffler. You have that kind of access. And what do you order? Cheeseburger sliders and a giant fucking cookie for dessert. And I don't know why.
Where's Fuzzy Zeller when you need him, man? Yeah.
That cookie sticks to me. But, like, really, you can have any dessert on the planet. You can have souffle. You can have, if you're a Bananas Foster or a Baked Alaska or whatever over-the-top elaborate dessert you want. And what do you want? You want a big old chocolate chip cookie. Like, what the hell,
How boring can
man?
you be? Yeah, exactly.
Like, honestly, this is a menu designed from someone who has spent most of his life eating at the food court in your local mall. Cheeseburger sliders. I mean, honestly, find a restaurant that doesn't serve cheeseburger sliders. You have Bang Bang Shrimp, which I'm pretty sure you get at Panda Express these days. It used to only be at at Bonefish, but now it's everywhere.
Everywhere has it.
Tortilla soup and goddamn a big old cookie for dessert. Like, honestly, you hit Panda Express and Mrs. Fields on your way out of the JC Penney after shopping for some back-to-school clothes. Like, what the hell is going on, Scotty Scheffler?
He may as well have had that Hooters that John Daly's always hanging out at.
I like all of these things. I don't. Who doesn't like a slider? Who doesn't like Bang Bang Shrimp? I even like a big old cookie, but not when you have the world at your feet. You have anything on the planet. It's Augusta National. You want Maine lobsters flown in. You want stone crabs that they caught in the Key this morning.
Yes.
You want Kobe beef. Pick your thing and you can have it. They will cook it for you.
Sure.
No, you want sliders and a goddamn cookie. Like,
may as well just go get a pimento cheese sandwich out there at the concession
honestly,
stand.
I honestly think you're like 2 steps above ordering, a cheese and pepperoni and the cinnamon twist from Papa John's. Honestly, one of Peyton Manning's Denver Papa John's could probably cater your champion's dinner.
Yeah,
that's how bad
ugly.
These selections are.
I would imagine there'll be a lot of people declining the invitation after looking over the menu. We'll have to get Mike Mayo, the fine food critic from the Sun Sentinel.
Again, I'm not trying to rip
South
anybody.
Florida.
I know Lubie likes tortilla soup, but I've seen him order at TGI Fridays. That's the goddamn Augusta Champions dinner.
Yeah. Maybe a Panera Bread.
Basically, if your Champions dinner is comparable to the all-you-can-eat appetizers at TGI Fridays, so they used to run, it's not a good selection.
Yeah. All right, that's Scotty Scheffler, number 5. Number 4.
Number 4 goes into a brutal Twitter fight that has broken out over the last couple of days after the injury to Diaz, the Mets closer. And the subject is whether or not the World Baseball Classic is just an exhibition. And I have a definitive answer for you people, which is 100% it's an exhibition. And if there was any question about that prior to this year, the fact that a team from Great Britain, who I think has been playing baseball for all of about 35 minutes, not only got into the WC, but went into the WC and got their shirts printed up at the mall right before they went to go play in these games. 100% demonstrates it's an exhibition.
Oh, that's really your jersey?
Yes, that is really the jersey.
Nah, get out of here, man. Marty the Party Sachs did a better job with our fully vaccinated shirts.
They went to the goddamn Vista print on their way to
there you go.
On the way to the game and got the jerseys printed up right before they made it. Like, honestly, if there was any question it was an exhibition, here's your answer, folks. Look at those uniforms. It's an exhibition game.
Guys wearing a tank top and cutoffs.
I remember like 20 years ago going to a celebrity softball game with the Miami Dolphins were playing with Jose Canseco against the Western Police Department. The jerseys were a lot more elaborate than Great Britain national team jerseys.
Yeah, hey, Deli,
and it wasn't like
shirt,
current
right?
Dolphins. It was like ex-Dolphins. It was like, Tim Boatcamper and Mark Duper. Both have been retired for 15 years at this point. Jose Canseco, who was a national disgrace at this point. And, again, much fancier jerseys than Team Great Britain. So if there's any question whether or not the WBC is an exhibition, yes, it's a goddamn exhibition. Like, I don't know. And, yes, so the Mets lost their closer in an exhibition game that nobody in America cares about. Again, another way you can tell this is an exhibition, ask anybody who's still a Major League Baseball fan, and if they want their players going, no, not players from my team. I don't want them playing in this goddamn thing. Well, that tells you this is different from the World Cup or the Olympics because things you never hear. Lakers fans saying, oh, no, I don't want LeBron playing in the Olympics. You don't hear World Cup fans be like, oh, yeah, I don't want Pulisic playing for Team USA because he might get hurt for Chelsea. Nobody says that about real games. Ask baseball fans about the WBC. Oh, they're very serious about it. They just don't want their team's players playing in it in case they get hurt.
I tried to call Ira the Met fan yesterday to console him, and there was no answer and no return phone call. So,
yeah, I don't blame him on that one.
Yeah, he couldn't even speak. I mean, to see this guy go down for the season,
celebrating
that the entire Mets team is predicated on the fact that they signed him for $800 million, all guaranteed, and he's going to be out for the year. Not necessarily fortuitous for the Mets' future. All right, that's number 4. Number 3.
Number 3 isn't really so much funny. I know we usually use this jokes. I just wanted to give people a glimpse into the depths of my depravity.
Yeah.
So there was a big thing on Twitter a couple days ago, and it's a question that I spent way too much time thinking about, and that is, could an average Joe, if you put him in a game as a starting quarterback, throw for 10 yards in an NFL game? I will tell you, not only am I 100% convinced that this is highly doable, I actually designed a playbook of what I would run in order to gain 10 yards.
Nice backward pass. No, that wouldn't count.
No, the only 2 caveats, you can't throw screen passes and you can't throw shovel passes.
Okay.
Everything else is a full playbook. I came up with, after much research into this, what I would run is the Brian Kelly 2-point conversion play where he just floods the short side of the field, has 3 wide receivers all commit blatant pass interference, and then throws to the back on a little flare pass, who always, again, he's run this about 6 times in important 2-point situation. It works 100% of the time. The guy's always wide open. It's always the simplest throw in the world. Once against FSU, it got called against for pass interference. And this year for LSU, it wasn't called, and they beat Alabama on the exact same play. So I figure if I run this like 15 times, the refs are going to call it maybe 10 times offensive pass interference, despite the fact it's blatant. And I'm going to get away with it 5 and easily get my 10 yards passing. These are the kind of things I spend an inordinate amount of time thinking about when there's not NCAA tournament games to watch, folks.
Call Mike McDaniel, man. Send him some of these plays for goal line situations. All right, that's number 3. Number 2 on the big board this week.
Of Twitter going on, we got the pictures of John Morant. We're all over Twitter and his time in the strip club. And turns out, bringing the gun was maybe not the worst decision John Morant made. Yes, folks. That is John Morant sitting in a strip club with no shirt on, and all that stuff you see on the ground, that is cash.
Oh, geez, really?
Yeah. Well, and there's a girl, pretty much attached to him.
I don't care about
Holy Adam Silver. Look at this.
Do what he wants.
John Morant
cash part. That's not good.
3 dancers a combined $50,000 in cash during the evening with the gun. Look,
unbelievable. Yeah.
We could compare it to the Alabama situation, which a lot of people are doing. We compare it and say, relative to some things that have happened in sports, this really isn't that bad.
No.
But I will say,
it's weird.
If you're shirtless in a strip club,
why is he shirtless?
Nothing good is ever coming of that situation.
Why is he shirtless?
With 50 dimes on the ground.
Luby's aware of this because we had a situation where a friend of ours got chased out of his local strip club shirtless with a stripper screaming behind him, he owes me $75. He owes me $75. And he was too drunk to answer us. In fact, I think he yacked all over Luby's car.
Why does this sound like PC?
He did. PC adjacent.
It's PC adjacent. I'm not going to lie about it.
Yeah.
We spent the next hour debating what the $75 could possibly be.
Yeah,
honestly, could have bought him? Yes.
It was a decent strip club.
It's either the biggest discount anybody has gotten in the history of strip club.
Maybe he made a partial payment.
Or she just wanted $75 randomly for no reason. And we still, to this day, haven't figured that scenario out. So, again, I get it, John Morant. I get the instinct. But, again, if you're shirtless in a strip club, nothing good is going to happen to you.
I don't get shirtless.
It doesn't appear he was there for the free lunch.
It looks like there's food.
Yeah.
Oh, no. That was part of the article. There was, in fact, a lot of food.
Yeah.
Orders of chicken strips, steaks, and pizza, which is an interesting combination. But I can't question John Morant's diet choices because, again, there's an entire table of food and the guy weighs like 140 pounds soaking away.
And the 50 grand there, and he couldn't get better food than we got at Porky's when Lubie and I were there.
It's true. You actually
open up the freezer and say, "Hey, can you just fry us up some of these?"
You actually experienced this firsthand. You have
no doubt,
strip club food experience from your days at Porky's.
Live remotes, man. The best. I still remember going out the back door with cases full of equipment. And, the Hialeah police lurking nearby. You're thinking, what the hell? I mean, who's leaving a strip club with, 2 giant cases unless there's something illegal going on? All right, that was number 2.
We lost.
Did we lose the professor? Oh, geez. We can't lose him before number 1. See if you can grab him back in there. We will be going into a little overtime today on the program. Mike MacIntyre, who became one of our favorites when he won us over at a press conference. And that was when he took the job at FIU as a head football coach. Now, it's out of season, but just outside the show today, we're going to continue after 9 o'clock with Mike MacIntyre. Under Lubie, I think a valid theory here in sports journalism, which is we want to talk to the guy during the season. We're hoping that FIU makes a little ascent under this guy's leadership. And it's possible, but it's a very, very difficult assignment because we've been friends with people there, that have been coaches. Ron Turner, his 2 predecessors, Butch Davis.
Yep.
And those guys were viable, very professional coaches. We know Butch had success a number of places, and Ron Turner had also been in the pros and had success a lot of places. And, they couldn't do it. They just, couldn't get past whatever the obstacles were. So we'll talk with Mike a bit later on. All right, I'm going to come back and try and get the professor's last entry here on the big board. Always great to get to the climax there and then go, what? You don't take the pill? Right? And you're like, just at the moment. And then now you have to try another method, which isn't quite as foolproof.
Jeez.
All right, we'll come back with more. I guess we're losing the professor.
Yeah, Ken's having a computer issue, so no Ken, but we will. He did tell me number 1, but he'll talk about it next week, and we'll let him get to that.
Okay. All right. Well, he was on a roll there. I like the Scotty Scheffler menu at number 5. That was pretty powerful. All right, Mark Lawrence going to join us next, and then we'll have the Gambling Gourmet Mike Mayo, who says he has some plays, didn't he?
Yes.
Was he implying that he did some handicapping of some sort? Yes. I don't know if it was horses or I can't imagine he's handicapping a basketball tournament because he said yesterday he pays like 0 attention to it, which that would make him among the few. What happened to his zeal and zest and love and just passion for sports?
I don't know. He's turned it into food.
It's all food now? That's it?
That's what it feels like. His focus is food almost all the time.
You know what? That may be true. I don't know. It just seems like if you were a sports writer for many years, you would look at Sarney, man. He doesn't miss a game. Sarney.
Not one. No, literally, his eyes were like kaleidoscopic yesterday. He was literally nonstop.
He's wondering why we haven't given more attention to the women's NIT so far on the show.
And not even women's tournament, which we don't care about at all. Women's NIT.
I don't mean, make fun of the concept there, but, it is a little off the beaten path, no doubt. And he was telling me nobody cares about my golf picks, which I would say, probably if you were looking at level of interest, general public, my golf picks probably, overwhelmingly overshadow.
Yes.
The women's NIT. All right, back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
8:24.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched. Steaks hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining, while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
This comes from the great Defo Llama. It's the bets you don't make, the chances you don't take, that can compromise an otherwise incredible life, my friend.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show. Always great to catch the professor and his selections. And we're trying to connect right now with Mark Lawrence of PlaybookSports.com, who you would have to think is absolutely euphoric. And he might have been on that Furman bandwagon. It's quite possible. But as soon as we get Mark Lawrence, we'll bring him to you here. Later on, Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, who implied that he had some kind of handicapping thing going for today. I don't know, like I said, if it's horses. We will be out there later on today, Gulfstream Park. And that's going to be a lot of fun. 12 o'clock, have some pool money. I have to invest in an early pick 5. But as I said, I wasn't able to get any kind of early fix on the Aqueduct early pick 5 today, which has been kind of chalk-oriented the last several weeks. If you can catch, one of these all tickets in one of the legs and manage to get a bomb in there, which we nearly did last week. But, of course, the 3 to 5 shot prevailed at the last jump, and we lost a chance to maybe pick up a dime or so, but did end up cashing $245 on a $56 investment. I almost had it a second time on a subsequent ticket. And so that was good. So we're going to try and turn that over today. But I get the Wall Street Journal thrown in my driveway. On the outside, I will give the delivery person credit for at least making me aware that this was not going to be my New York Post. But I'm kind of lost without it, right? Except that maybe it was an omen, Lubie, for Greenlight Ventures. Okay. To maybe take off. All right, you say Mark Lawrence is going to join us in a couple of minutes
yes.
here on the program?
He will join us. We will get his plays. Just he needs a couple of minutes.
All right. And have you changed your opinion at all? You're solidly behind the Hurricanes over Drake. You think they just have too much firepower, and all the people that were barking about Furman, which we thought probably were going to end up eating all of their cash, turned out to be right. Is it possible that the Drake's team was far more prominent than any conversation about Furman and certainly Princeton was before the tournament? No, I mean, Drake was one of those teams that some people kind of had on their radar, so to speak.
Yes, I think at least I haven't watched any Drake, so I don't know. I know we've had a lot of people talking about them before and now during the tournament, and everything they focus on is the guards. Well, that's not the way to beat UM. Ken talked about it.
Yeah.
What Duke did, especially now. UM was already shorthanded with the bigs, but Omer, I guess, made up for a lot of that, so they got away with it. But without Omer, the way you're going to beat him, at least handily, is up front. And even then, Duke, who's playing really well in spite of what Ken wants to admit, didn't pound him. It was a close game until like 3-4 minutes left. So, if Drake is great in the front court, in the back court, that's great for them. But that's where UM not only is strong, UM's one of the best in the country. UM's 3 guards / I guess Jordan Miller may be a small forward / guard. It's as good as anyone in the country. And Drake isn't beating them that way. So I'm glad they have a bunch of 60-year-olds, and that's wonderful. And, veterans. Well, there's a team that was in the Elite 8 last year. So if you're trying to out-veteran Miami, Drake's not the team that's doing it. So I don't give a shit how old they are. There's a reason they're old and in college and at Drake. If they were good, they wouldn't be at Drake till they're 25 years old. So
that is a long time to be in college. When did this guy start school? At 18?
I don't know.
Imagine it. I mean, it literally is Butarski, 7 years of college down the drain. Think about that, man. If you could have gone to school for some people do, I guess, when they go for extended and, upgraded degrees.
I was there 5 years, but I was getting a master's. There are people, and I had friends of mine that were there as long, if not longer, and did not get extra degrees.
No, I mean, I had to go a little overtime. I had to take a couple of courses at Hofstra. I was short, but I was only short 6 credits, which was pretty remarkable considering that I never attended a class. Oh, it was really. I mean, you talk about I mean, I enjoyed it immensely though. Lately on my daily walk of life, I've been thinking back to my college days for some reason, and thinking about how much fun it was, to be able to run that distance, and
Yeah.
then and then go out and play basketball as opposed to coming home and collapsing in front of a Budweiser and saying, I'm not sure how much longer I can keep doing this. Today, though, I mean, I'm watching also that UConn Iona game. I don't know if I got a chance to actually watch the thing because I'll probably be involved down there at the racetrack. I'm sure they'll have some of the games on the screens at Gulfstream Park because there will be big betting action. I mean, your horse players probably can't resist the temptation to at least put something in on the NCAA tournament. And I think my one bracket is already busted up enough that I should have an ice pack on my head and be seeking therapy. But I don't think I'm alone in that because I believe very few people had Princeton at 750 to 1 on the money line to go ahead and pull out this monumental upset over Arizona 15-2. If anybody had it, though, it would have been this man from playbooksports.com, who joins us right now, one of our favorites, returning to the program here after a great football season together. Mark Lawrence, playbooksports.com, joins us here on the show. Mark, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing just super, Defo, and I can say that I did have Princeton, but not on the money line.
Wow.
The dog. And
Wow, good for you.
14 and a hook, a very generous offering, I would say. What was the logic behind that, Mark Lawrence, or the numerology?
Well, what was behind it is largely these number 2 seeds in this tournament. They generally struggle, and largely because maybe the thought being the process behind it is that they were close enough to be number 1, yet quite didn't do that, and they're not quite where they wanted to be, and they're a little bit disappointed in the number 2 seed. There was Arizona who won the Pac-12 championship, but not enough to be the number 1 seed. And these 15 seeds, this is the second 15 seed we've seen pull the rug to do just that, and that's what they do. It's these conferences that come from these nondescript conferences. This is their whole world, and the other guys are just content to be there.
The Furman outright win, I think, had to constitute an upset. They were only 5.5-point dogs in their ball game to Virginia, who tied with the Hurricanes for the ACC regular season championship, and certainly loomed as a formidable team. But that was one where a lot of steam was coming in to go ahead and take the points with Furman, which I imagine Mark Lawrence and the boys at playbooksports.com also had a handsome interest in.
Yeah, we're a very, as you would imagine, a very dog-oriented player in especially the first 2 rounds of this tournament, the first round this weekend, I should say. And, Furman had all the makings. It's a Virginia basketball team that, while they had 5 starters coming back from last year and were expected to be the cream of the conference, they weren't quite that this year. And if you take a look at Tony Bennett, his career with Virginia, he's 16-10 in the NCAA tournament, but only 10-16 to the spread. And his last 6 games, he's now lost the money 6 straight times in a row.
Wow!
And it's the style of play that Virginia goes about. Their playbook, what they take into the tournament, and it just doesn't fit into the way they play basketball these days. And I kind of think the game might be more in the rearview mirror for Tony Bennett these days. That's not it was ironically the same day that they lost to UMBC as the only number 1 seed in the tournament to ever lose a first round tournament game to a 16th seed, and it was March 16th, the same day when it happened. So March 16th does not go down well on Tony Bennett's calendar for sure.
Yeah, he didn't look overwhelmingly enthusiastic when I saw a shot of him coming out onto the court there, and maybe some of those concerns stem from the horror of being the only team to have that distinction of losing to a number 16. In NCAA tournament history, which is going all the way back to like 1939. All right, Mark Lawrence, playbooksports.com. What are you looking at today? And how can you help our listeners and our viewers? Because, we thought of you naturally. I mean, as soon as I saw that Furman player chucked the ball up in the midair, and I thought, my God, there's a chance here that they hit a three, and they do. And all of a sudden, you went out right on the money line with this team. What are you looking at today on today's card?
Well, we've known the standard 5 and 12 seeds and how well the 12 seeds have fared against them.
Yes.
The year 2000 going into this tournament, they were 50 and 35 against the spread, which is a pretty strong number for that many results for a number 12 seed.
Sure.
And unfortunately for us down here, we do have a matchup. A warning of a number 12 seed taking out a 5, and Drake taking on Miami of Florida in this basketball game today. And, while it's unfortunate that it may be a 12-5 matchup, the fact of the matter is this Drake basketball team can do a lot of damage. They're very, very experienced. What's nice about the basketball team is that they have 3 guards on this team that have played together. This is their 5th year together in a row.
Wow.
They exercised their option to play a 5th additional year because of the COVID situation that happened to them. So now 5 years in a row, these 3 guards of this tandem has all played together, and they happen to be the 3 leading scorers in the basketball team. They create havoc, obviously, and they've got all the makings, I think, here of Miami being in trouble in this basketball game. It's a very short number. It's probably the shortest number that we've seen a number 12 seed take from a 5 seed.
Right.
But it's there for a reason. The odds makers are very, very well aware of this. So if Miami does not come home alive today, I will not be surprised.
Yes, and suspect whether or not their good rebounder O'Meara plays in the ball game. Most people would speculate no, but we did see him out there taking a couple of. He was actually leaving the floor and taking a couple of shots, although very mild participation in whatever their final practice was. So that might make a big difference as well. All right. So unfortunately for the local people here, you have. Drake, now they are getting 2 points, so it is possible Miami could win, and you still get the cover there. So it may not be a total catastrophe in that regard, but it sounds like you're suggesting a money line play there, Mark Lawrence.
Yeah, well, I would. Really, for truth of the matter is, at money line, if anybody's that are entertaining small favorites, rather than nail yourself to the crucifix and lay a favorite, I would play a money line to a small favorite in these games. I've talked a little bit about it before, where if you got a 2-point favorite, you just lay the money line minus 120.
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about the points. On the favorite side of the basketball game.
Right.
But there's another. We'll kind of even that out a little bit here with a play on another team that I think a South Florida team that could do really well.
FAU. Wow.
FAU, yes, exactly. I think they have all the makings to pull this upset over Memphis here today. It's they're one of only 4 teams, Defo, that won 30 games on the season. FAU did, and it's quite an accomplishment for the team. I was really surprised when they were the underdog in their conference championship game, and so too were they, because they just went out and they made a statement in that basketball game against UAB. And they're going to dress up here now to a Memphis basketball team that pulls an upset in their conference championship game. And that's what we love. We love these role reversals where teams win their conference championship game as underdogs, and they dress up as a favorite in the first round of this tournament, which is exactly what we've got in this Memphis FAU game here today. I think the Owls can take Memphis down in this game as well.
The professor was all in on Memphis. So interesting. Mark Lawrence. Going with FAU, sees the Canes going down, at least to the point spread, the 2 points to Drake. Anything else that catches your attention?
Yeah, I'm going to look at one other game here that sort of fits a mathematical criteria, if you will. And it's we're going to look at NC State taking on Creighton. And while this Creighton basketball team is a good basketball team, they drastically underperformed this year. They were a preseason top 10 seed who started out well, hit a wall, and then came back to close out pretty well. A little erratic, to say the least. But in NC State, you got a basketball team here that was just absolutely humiliated in their last game of the season, the ACC tournament. And it fits our angle in our March Madness tournament guide, our playbook March Madness tournament guide, which is absolutely terrific angle. And basically what we're doing is we're going to play on any team that's qualified as a good team, 666 or better in this first round, that comes in off a loss of 24 or more points in their season-ending game. Real simple, short to the matter. And the reason we love the angle is because it's happened 11 times. It's won the money all 11 times.
Wow.
And I'm sort of a guy that likes these perfect edge, what I call the perfect egg, the goose eggs, and that's what NC State is here against Creighton today. I think they'll make amends for that 24-point loss beatdown that they had in their season-ending game here and step up and pull the rug out on Creighton.
Amazing, man. I mean, Degenerate, Rene Descartes, Mark Lawrence, coming up with mathematical permutations that nobody else, could possibly, dig below the surface and find. Just fantastic. That's typical of your database there. I said that, and a lot of people probably feel the same way. That for a guy that follows college basketball to the level you do and bets on the games, that this is like Charlie Sheen walking into a Heidi Fleiss pool party. And, just immediately being presented with a pyramid of cocaine and two of the hottest broads by the pool. Not to characterize women as broads, but in this case, that maybe is a flattering description of what was hanging out at the pool there. And it just has to be pure euphoria. So a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon. How can they get more of this great stuff at playbooksports.com?
Well, like I mentioned, Defo, we've got it all inside of our March Madness Tournament Guide. It's probably our most popular publication of the year. It's 18 pages, just jam-packed with information like we talked about of every game on yesterday's card, this card this weekend, today and tomorrow. And then it moves forward and looks forward to the next rounds all the way through the championship game. And you can get that at playbooksports.com. And just one word I'll pass on to you as we wrap up everything here. One of the people that helped me put the Madness Guide together, he's a very, very stout German and very, very systematic on everything that he does. And it's called Schadenfreude. And that's exactly what happens in these NCAA tournament games, Schadenfreude, because it's just the thrill that people get, or when it's Schadenfreude, they love the excitement of humiliating another person or another team, something to that extent, where they get the pleasure of self-satisfaction. So we've got that going on here as well. So it's Schadenfreude time right now for March Madness.
The thrill of humiliation and the agony of defeat. Unbelievable. Mark Lawrence, always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks so much for joining us. I hope you'll be available later on in the tournament, because that was brilliant today.
Really I would love to. I'd love to come back and check with you next week. We'll see what's going on.
Okay, great. All right, great.
Thanks a lot,
Beautiful.
Mark. Appreciate it. Good luck.
Mark Lawrence, ladies and gentlemen. That was interesting from a number of different standpoints, including the complete diametric opposition of the opinion about the FAU-Memphis game between two of our handicappers, both brilliant guys, Mark Lawrence and the professor.
Well, and also NC State, Creighton.
Yeah.
Ken was on Creighton, and Lawrence, who has to go with the Dogs, was on NC State.
And of course, Mark Lawrence yesterday all over Furman and on Princeton, getting 14 and a hook. All right, we're going to be joined by the Gambling Gourmet. Then 9 o'clock today, Mike MacIntyre, who is the coach at FIU, football coach at FIU. So we'll get into a little bit of a conversation with him. And you're thinking, where did that come from, Lubie? But Lubie, with a purpose, a method to his madness. And I respect the move. So we'll do that at about 9 o'clock with MacIntyre, and he's a very inspirational guy. He really is.
This is fun.
Yeah. I wonder if he's involved in March Madness. Do you think that there's?
We're allowed to talk. We can talk with him if he's allowed to be. Remember, Kiffin, like some of these coaches have gotten in hot water because they're not supposed to be in office pool.
Yeah. Who is the coach from UCLA with an N?
Was it Jim Mora? It wasn't Jim Mora.
No. And he was involved in these
the guy that does
like he was involved in like $50,000.
Rick Neuheisel, the one that
Neuheisel, yes,
Colorado or something. And then
I like Neuheisel. He was an interesting guy, but he was in like a high stakes pool on virtually everything, right? I mean, if it was a Super Bowl box thing, it was $50,000 a square. It was unbelievable, the money they were playing for. All right, coming back with Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, and then Mike MacIntyre. It is Mike MacIntyre, right? His first name's Mike? Yeah. Yes. Mike MacIntyre, Coach MacIntyre, when you can't figure out the guy's first name. Mike MacIntyre of FIU going to join us at 9 o'clock today. Back with the Gambling Gourmet in a moment. Now that.
The time.
I know he's gambling on something this weekend. I'm assuming he's playing poker and horses. I think he goes back into his total degeneracy and hopefully gives up this obnoxious position he's taken about Lent. It's 8:45. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in Style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. You know, since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
All right, we have the Gambling Gourmet with us, Mike Mayo.
Well, yeah, and you know me, when it comes to like pro football, I usually like to sometimes handicap games on which is the better food city. Where would I rather eat in? My mom, God bless her, 88 years old, and she follows some football, and we do a family pool where we make picks, and usually her is based on which city she would rather visit or live in.
Okay.
But college football, for me, it used to be, I always thought that the quality of the football team was in inverse proportion to the amount of teeth in the crowd. So, like,
grab a bagel and a schmear, plus some Defo and Lubie. Welcome back to the Defo Show.
Solid rationale. He's eating again. You have to be kidding me. Are you planning on going to the chair, Mike Mayo? We welcome the Gambling Gourmet Mike Mayo to the show. What is this BS now? You're eating like yogurt in the morning to make up for the triple burger that you had last night?
A little nice, healthy, light fruit with yogurt and granola.
Yeah.
And it's 0% fat Greek yogurt. You'd be happy to know. And yeah, I am
such a fraud, though. I mean, you really are. You're just such a fraud with this garbage.
Planning to go to the chair, and my chair is a chaise lounge. So.
Exactly.
Oh, very nice. Your chair will be out at Gulfstream Park later on today, and that's good.
Nice.
You said, let me ask you this first. Should we go ahead and get the T-shirts printed up?
Which ones are those?
Frank Miramonte says we had, we should get Furman, bad cop, good team. What do you think? No? You're not.
I'm reveling in Furman because as much of a checkered history of the team, I mean, not the team, the school is, look, it's in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Okay. And that's your starting point for your journalistic career.
My first full-time job after being an intern at the Boston Globe was at the Spartanburg Herald-Journal. I think I only covered one Furman basketball game. There was another writer on staff who had the full-time
How
Furman
many people
beat.
were on the staff of the sports department there?
I had 4 writers.
4 writers. Wow, that's a decent
4 writers
paper.
and 1 editor. It's about the size of the Sentinel.
What was the circulation of this Spartanburg Gazette?
It was actually it was not the Gazette. It was the Spartanburg Herald-Journal.
Okay.
At the time, it was owned by the New York Times. It was a New York Times regional newspaper. They actually had a decent budget, and the Sunday circulation in Spartanburg, I think it was about 62,000 papers.
All right,
which
not
was,
bad.
pretty healthy.
Yeah.
Anyway, Furman was a school there. Well, okay. First of all, before I get into how I break down schools in the NCAA tournament, I am paying attention now that I've actually watched 0 minutes of college basketball during the regular season and the tournaments. I am now super fan, and it's kind of mind-boggling to me because I did come up with like 5 picks for today, and one of my 5 picks, the first one I have on my sheet, is North Carolina State, which Mark Lawrence just gave out, which is
Lawrence.
makes
I
me.
mean, did he? I mean, he's dizzying with those statistics and the trends. It's amazing.
I'm going to get 5.5 points against Creighton.
Okay.
His is based on sound statistical knowledge and research. Mine was just strictly a guess. I just looked at the games today and the point spreads, and I came up with 5. But I just like that.
Where's
matchup
Creighton? In Nebraska or something?
I think it's it's one of those Midwestern schools. And this brings me to how I break down teams. I don't know much about all these conferences now. They change. It seems like the Big East was won by some team in the middle of like Ohio or something like that. It makes no sense to me. So here's how I have my own conferences that I assign to teams. One of them is the no premarital sex, no abortion conference.
Good for you.
There you
know
go.
some of those teams. That's like Oral Roberts, and I would imagine.
I was thinking maybe the SEC.
BYU, you're not.
Those. No, the SEC actually. So that one is the technically not felons, but we may have committed some felonies conference. That's the.
It's kind of like the whole Trump administration. Yeah.
And then there's the our players are taller and whiter than our corn and wheat husks, corn stalks, but and we're in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. That conference,
right.
You know them, Iowa State, and then the we're either named for it might be a dead president or it might be a Confederate hero conference. So that's some of those teams like George Mason or I don't even know. But all right, that's it. The other philosophical question I had about sports and NCAA tournament and whatever, if Kevin Harlan was standing to your left and Stephen A. Smith was standing to your right,
why not just add in Robert Plant? I mean,
which eardrum would burst first?
Wow. I mean, I actually, I've been falling asleep to the Stephen A. Smith show. I'll have like ESPN on when I crash out in the morning after the show for a while before the lunchbox. And it's just, I mean, hysterical, it's probably a poor choice of words there because that's exactly what it is. The hysteria that they get into over these sporting issues is beyond the scope of anything that you could consider anybody with any semblance of taste would want to watch. No, I mean, who is this appealing to besides the producers at ESPN that thinks this, is what the people want? Or do they want this? Am I way off on that?
I don't know. The world has changed. I grew up in the era of when I watched ESPN, it was with it was the era where Dick Schaap was hosting the sports reporters, and they'd have like a lively and intelligent conversation on a Sunday morning with esteemed panelists like, William Roden, who at the time was with the New York Times, and Bob Ryan at the Globe.
Your man, the Lip, Mike Lupica. Well, wasn't he with the Globe there when you were there, Mike Lupica?
Lupica was at the Daily News and Newsday in New York.
But he was never a Boston guy, Lupica?
Well, he went to school with Sarni, I think, at Boston College. Yeah, I don't know where he got his start, but he was always a New York writer. But at the time, I was at the Globe.
That was
Lee
a good show,
Montville.
though. I mean, that Sports Reporters.
Oh, it was, yeah. No, but now somewhere along the way, it just all became shouting.
Remember the old Chicago version of the Sports Reporters, the original one? Where they had the real old geezers there that the guy that covered Notre Dame for 50 years, and who was the?
It was on Sports Channel. I forgot all the guys' names, but I could see their faces.
The young guy was, and his last name starts with a T, and I can't remember, and I feel badly about that. But we had him on a few times on the show. But
Rick Tellender.
Yeah, Rick Tellender. Yeah, real good. Guy.
Yeah, he was at Sports Illustrated, and then he went back to become like the premier columnist for the Chicago Sun-Times, and Rick's a good guy.
Yeah, and he was like a child compared to these other old geezers that they had. But those guys were great, man. I mean, there was the old crotchety, Damon Runyon type of sports writer when sports writing what was considered some form of art at that time, which is what I imagine inspired you to get into it, Mike Mayo, being with your writing ability. But how is it that you have completely dismissed and dispensed of your passion for sports?
Because I've, like Lubie correctly pointed out, I've supplanted it with my desires and overall passion for eating and gambling on endeavors that I think I can control, which is horse racing
Of course,
and
horse
poker.
racing, very simple. Everybody knows they're going to flop an ace on the last card there.
Hey, so Sarni points out that Lupica was at the Globe with him when Sarni was starting out. So when they got done, with
Sarni
their
started
college,
out at
I
the
guess
Boston Globe.
Yeah, well, Sarni also was I guess, a BC guy, along with what the
Okay,
Leslie
so he might have
and,
was he an intern there like you
Lupica.
or?
Probably.
Okay.
I never gone into the backstory of Sarni's full history. All I know is that he was completely useless as a trivia partner.
How'd that
last
go?
night.
How are the questions? You did well on your
I
own.
enjoyed
Yeah.
it. I enjoyed it a lot. My one question, well, first of all, Lubie, not to do your job, but I think you need to recut the landlubber's spot because I saw the sign on the door that they have extended their hours. They're now closing 11 p.m. and
That spot's been airing
midnight on the
for
weekends.
12 years.
2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
It's not 12 years. It's
Why
like
would he update it, man? He loves the coleslaw there. Did you try the coleslaw, by the way, on Lubie's
I
recommendation?
did not, and I did take the burger home. I did not eat it in the car like you, and I cut up.
That would have been eaten on $5.95 if it was me.
It was a beautiful medium rare cheeseburger, and I didn't realize it was on special last night for $8.99 with some grilled onions for 99 cents more. I cut it up at home. It was cooked perfect medium rare, where you could actually
thumbs up from me.
I give a big thumbs up to the burgers at Landlubbers, especially on the Trivia Thursday nights. That's a good deal. People should go on out there.
Yeah,
Lubie. And
did you meet the Chronics? Did you meet Lenny and the Chronics?
I met all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, they all came up afterwards, and I got to chat with them a little bit. It was nice. It's a really fun time, and can make some good brain teasers. I like the way they blend in music with that, and it so that it kind of can give some hints. I got tripped up by one because it was like a question: is which team has appeared in more NCAA tournaments in men's basketball than any other school? I guess it's a pretty easy one. What would you guess there?
I would guess Kentucky.
Yeah, that's the answer. But he played a Bob Dylan song, Subterranean Home Blues, and I thought Bob Dylan's from Minnesota. I thought it was like a trick question, and I thought maybe Minnesota back in the days of George Milken or whatever it was would like have gotten.
When was the last time you saw him in the tournament?
Never. So
Mikan was playing. Yeah.
What I also wonder, Lubie, is do people cheat? Because they could just like go on their phones and Google everything.
Of course they cheat. You know that.
When we have new people, I'll have to warn people: don't use Google. This isn't the SATs. Like, relax. Like,
why don't you confiscate the cell phones for all the players?
Yeah, you should put it in the Ziploc bags, like at concerts.
I'm a grown adult. If anyone tried to take my phone, I would lose it. So I'm not taking your phone. You're a grown adult. We have most of ours are regulars, and they actually just want to win. So like,
so they do it fair and square.
Yes,
I got 0 answers from either the music or on the questions from Sarni. He's completely distracted. And
Sarni, I mean, I didn't even realize this, the level of his dementia when it comes to following sports, which I know he was the TV critic for a long time, but he actually is recommending that you pay $10 for a one-day pass or $30 for the full tournament
to watch
the women's some minor league women's basketball tournament.
He's insane. All right, we're gonna have to resume this conversation because
12 o'clock. Yeah, we've got Coach MacIntyre on.
We'll be at Gulfstream. We're gonna be celebrating St. Patrick's Day. Do you realize somebody just pointed out on the group that the Catholic, I guess, cardinals around the U.S. and Cardinal Wensky here in Miami has granted special dispensation to the parishioners that they can eat meat and corned beef today because
nice.
Because corned beef and because St. Patrick's Day falls on a Friday, and I was like, I'm trying to find a rabbi that'll give me special permission to eat bacon cheeseburgers. And
you're eating them every day. What are you talking about, man? You don't care about this. Your whole religious foundation has been destroyed with this, ridiculous notion that you need to celebrate Lent.
Well, we'll talk about that.
I mean, a disgrace. I got a call from several rabbis asking me if you were serious about that. And I said, yeah, he claims he is. I don't know. He's drinking half the time anyway. But, the whole position is preposterous, according to a lot of my Jewish friends.
Don't try crawling into my brain, Defo. It's very dangerous.
Oh, no doubt about it, man. All right. Thanks. Mike Mayo, ladies and gentlemen, the Gambling Gourmet with us here on the show. We'll be out at Gulfstream Park later on today. And let's get right into this because this guy inspired us. Like I said, the last time we had him on a show, and Lubie, you know this to be true. How long was I bugging you to get Mike MacIntyre, the head coach of the FIU football team, on this program? because the minute I saw his kind of introductory press conference and the speech that he gave, I was so inspired. I went out and started throwing a ball.
Like, let's
It was
go.
great.
Where?
Coach, welcome to the program. Good to have you on. How are you?
I am glad to be on. I enjoyed my last time on with y'all. I know y'all been watching all the March Madness.
Well,
sure,
we got into it. Yeah, we love when, everybody loves a giant upset. I mean, this would be, tantamount to FIU, getting into the playoff tournament next year, which would be great, and we're all hoping for that.
Yes.
I wanted to start here, though, and it's a little off the beaten path for college football and what you're doing with FIU and the football program there. But your star quarterback comes to you, and he's been at the school a few years. And he says, Coach, during the offseason, I'm going to skip the offseason workouts, and I'm going into a darkness retreat. Now, maybe when I was going to school, that might have been more commonplace, and the coach would have just shrugged his shoulders and said, yeah, it's better than going to that hippie rally against the war. But what would your reaction be if your quarterback started to show signs that maybe he was being influenced by elements of the occult?
Right. Well, in college, he would flunk out of school, so he couldn't do that. He wouldn't be able to be gone that long. So that helped us in college. There's no doubt about it. I thought that's. I think he just wanted to get away from everybody, right, and try to rest his mind and figure out where he was going to go. But I think he probably knew where he was going before he did all that.
Sure seemed like it, didn't it? I mean, since Fireman Ed was kind of riding in the car with him as he was going to the retreat, I had a funny feeling that it was going to end up being the Jets. Do you follow all of that? I mean, are you a big fan of the pro game?
I coached in the NFL for 5 years.
Yes.
Four with Bill Parcells, which was awesome, and then one at the New York Jets. So I know the Fireman Ed, the chant and everything they do. Yes. I just saw a little bit on Twitter about it and everything, but he's an amazing quarterback, and I thought it was funny when I was hearing it, and that they had Brett Favre go there, and now so I guess when you finish at the Packers as a great quarterback, you go to the Jets. That's what it looks like.
And the problem the Jets have, and maybe this comes out when you were there, did you sense that there was any influence of the curse of Ken O'Brien, where the Jets will forever be cursed for taking him over Marino?
Curse on that, no.
There was no evidence of that. Were there pictures of O'Brien and Marino up there, possibly on the draft board left from that night when the Jets made that fatal mistake? Although O'Brien had an okay career, I guess, by some standards, but he certainly wasn't Dan Marino. The Jets' next move, though, Coach MacIntyre, was to see if Bart Starr had any interest in coming back from the dead to quarterback the team. So we're hoping for them. That it works out. All right. Where are you at with, what is transpiring right now? Is it quiet on the Western Front?
All right.
When it comes to
it's never
college
quiet.
All right.
We're getting ready. We start spring practice on Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
On the 21st. So we're excited about that. We'll have, 15 spring practice days. We got our spring game is on April 22nd at 6:30. And then we also are having a scrimmage in Charles Hadley Park. There in Liberty City on April 8th, Saturday, April 8th. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we got a lot of things going this spring. All spring practices are big. That's what coaches say, of course. And so we're excited about that. We got a lot of newcomers that already came in school in January. So we look forward to seeing how they do out at practice. So it's a big for us to make this is time to make a jump with your team. And we're excited about that.
Coach, we know in years past, it was very different, both in the pros and in the college game, when it came to access of the staff with players, when it came to access of practice. I mean, even when I was in college at FSU in the early 2000s, I remember I had an 8 o'clock class, and half of it was football players, and they had already had practice. I'm like, how the hell did you already have practice? And it's 8 o'clock in the morning. And then they had lifting, and then they had another practice. And we know they've limited a lot of that, and a lot of former players and coaches have said, look, that is actually both good and bad. What is it like now rules-wise when it comes to spring ball, when you guys want to go full bore, but I know they limit pads and they limit this and that? What is it like now, and how does that limit the growth of the team?
Yeah, that's a great question, but I'm blown away. You actually went to your 8 o'clock in the morning class, Lubie? You actually went to it? That's a miracle in itself.
He's dedicated, this kid.
I didn't even know they had 8 o'clock classes in the morning at FSU. So, I guess you didn't make you probably didn't make Friday mornings 8 o'clock in the morning class in college.
Mondays was probably rough also, I would imagine.
Yeah. there are a lot of new rules on time limits. When we start spring practice, we basically get 20 hours a week with them of meetings and practice. But that doesn't take into the process of them coming over and getting treatment and eating and all that type of thing they have to do before, to get ready for practice, and all the things afterwards, and the treatments and the recovery pools and all the things that we do to make sure their bodies stay healthy. But there is a time limit on that. Back when I played, which was a long time ago, there was no time limit. But we all graduated. We all did well. So I don't know. I guess it's the way it is now. But there's limits to everything. We only get 15 practices. And so we have the 20 hours a week. So we practice Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays. And on Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, we meet, lift, walk through. We are a morning practice team. I love doing it that way. I think it's the best for the college student. We get them up, we feed them breakfast, we meet, we practice, we feed them lunch. Then they go to class in the afternoon. They have study hall. They're done with everything by 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. So then they can enjoy being a college student at night and doing different things. And so that's how we operate it. But there is a time limit, and we have to get it done in a certain amount of time when we start our first spring practice till the end. There's 34 days in there unless you have a spring break in there. So that's kind of how it works.
No, it's funny. You always hear this as you go into your spring practice sessions, and ultimately, I guess, the spring game. Coaches, managers in baseball, they always say, as you go into a preseason, every position is wide open. I mean, nobody's a lock here. And then, a guy in spring training will hit 450, make stellar plays at his position. The guy that was a regular hits a $116 and strikes out 13 times. In 20 at bats, and then he ends up starting on opening day. Yeah. How married to your roster are you in actuality, or is
right.
Is it a battle for position that is of a genuine nature?
Right. It is a battle for position. It really is. Now, of course, ours that is different than the pros. If you're paying the guy $300 million
Yes.
to be he's going to play, right? I mean, your owner's not going to let you do that. So there is a difference on that side of it. But I think that what I'm noticing with our team, which is really good, I tell our guys all the time, and we're getting to that point, not quite where we want to be, but we sure are close, is a guy that was a starter last year. This year, he can look over his right shoulder and his left shoulder and go, that guy can beat me out. He's stronger. He's better. We sign another guy that's just as big as him, just as athletic. So the more depth you have on a football team, the better you're going to be, because injuries happen. It's a grinding season. So the more depth you have, the better you are. You always hear the things about, well, that team's really good on their first, 22, but after that they drop off. They have a hard time finishing the season. I believe we're closer to that than we were last year, a lot closer. And there's more competition, which when there's somebody that can beat you out, you work a little harder. You come a little more focused, and that helps everything rise. So that's what I'm seeing on our team right now.
So with the transfer portal, we've heard the positives where teams are able to fill roles via like a free agency. But we've also heard a lot of coaches, including the guy I would still consider the best coach in the game, even though he hasn't won the last 2 titles. Nick Saban himself will complain, you now have to worry about this and that, and people poaching. We keep hearing the word poaching.
Nick's always whining, though. I mean, we should qualify.
He always has something to whine about. But what's interesting to me is more and more coaches are complaining about this poaching thing. And Jim Boeheim talked about it with Coach Jim Larinaga, taking players, whatever that means. How weary are you guys of that? Because a school like FIU, you produce a star, you can see that guy be wanted by other schools. How does any of it get to the coaches? How involved are you in that? Do you have to worry about your kids being whispered in their ear? Like, what is it like now with the transfer portal on a program like FIU? Right.
That's an excellent question. You have to, change is always good, right? Life is change. So we have to embrace change as coaches. These changes are good, but they also, when you have change, there's always unforeseen problems, correct? So what we have to do as a coach, the way I look at it is, I'm going to recruit really good players. We're going to build them and develop them. I'm going to try to create a culture here that guys want to stay here. And then if someone moves on, I need to be prepared to have someone replaced or get someone out of the portal. There's going to be a little movement, but hopefully we're able to keep our nucleus. We lost a couple of good players that went to some Power 5 schools that they got NIL money that, that's what they got. And so, but we have a lot of good players here that will replace them and move forward. So it's a changing landscape. I do think there needs to be, when it was thrown in, it was kind of just thrown in and let's see what happens. I think as it keeps going on another year or two, that there'll be some more barriers created, and that will help it kind of get to what we would end up calling a normalcy. Right now, there's really no normalcy, nothing to manage it with or measure it with. So you can either let it affect you and spoil all the kids that are here, or you can say, hey, that's what happened, and you move on and you keep working forward and go from there. So that's the approach I've taken. It does make a lot. I wouldn't say the word is worry. I think you better be planned correctly, understanding, hey, this could happen. You can't just hope that. So we always have a contingency plan in place. If we lose 2 or 3 guys out of position, we better have some guys prepared, or we better have a plan to be able to see other guys that we can get here. So that's how you have to work at it.
Coach Mike MacIntyre of FIU with us here on the Defo Show. Great having him on the program. And you were talking about transfer portal, losing players, and obviously newcomers are going to be on the roster. How much turnover on the roster do you anticipate overall? And then which one of your position coaches is saying thank you, Coach MacIntyre, thank you, Coach Mac. This kid is going to be a generational player. Is there somebody coming into the program that's going to create a buzz that the people around town will quickly recognize?
I think you're always going to have about a 33% turnover in college football, more than maybe you have in the past. But I think also at the same time, you better have guys in your freshman, quote, redshirt freshman classes that you keep recruiting so you can reload. You don't always have to just totally rely on transfers. Because sometimes that's not a good deal, because I think every transfer that comes in thinks they're going to start, right?
Yeah.
So that could be an issue if they're not totally bought into what you're going to do. It's also how you recruit those guys when they go in the portal. I think is very important doing that. And then we're excited about our team. We have some good players. I think that our D-line coach and O-line coach are a little more excited this year. We have more depth there. We have more size there. Some kids we redshirted that played a little bit, a couple transfer guys, and some of our older guys have gotten bigger and stronger and better. So we're deeper there. When we got here last year, we only had 6 offensive linemen on scholarship. It's hard to have a very good football program when it's that way. Now we have 15 guys and they're involved and understand what's going on. And defensively, we've got more depth there too. So I would say our 2 lines are a little more excited this year than they were when we first got here last year at this time.
All right. I mean, you were looking at a situation last year where the team had not been successful prior to your arrival, even though, some very reputable coaches and guys that we knew well, Ron Turner and Butch Davis, certainly, very professional coaches were there before, and it was a tough situation. How many obstacles?
They're excellent coaches. There's no doubt about it. I think there was a lot of factors that kind of went into all of that. And one of them was the portal and all that stuff hit. Yeah. And so when there's a coaching change and the COVID year, there's a lot of different things that caused a lot of issues to programs. And I think that one of the COVID year and a la coach retiring and everything with the transfer portal, that period of time allowed more kids to kind of search and go and leave. Which they wouldn't have been that way in the past. And that's kind of why we were replenished more.
All right. How would you characterize your first season there? And what do you feel are going to be the building blocks for a successful year this year?
Yeah. Well, we made good strides. Of course, we wanted to be better than we were, but we had some first around here they've done in a while, which was big. We played on the road, played well on the road. We had some really exciting home games. Came from behind a few times, which was really good. Didn't just stay down and out. So I feel like our kids that are playing now. We were basically the youngest team in America last year, percentage wise. This year we got a lot of those guys back. They kept maturing. They're bigger. They're stronger. So now we'll have more maturity to understand to just keep playing the game. Don't get down. It's such a roller coaster, right? There's different things that happen, and as you have experience, you understand that. So that's where I see us. The maturity-wise, that will help us be better this coming year.
Look, we know being a coach, whether it's college or the NFL, is an around-the-clock job. They joke about, we've had Jimmy Johnson talk about was literally at the office all but 5 hours a day in his years as a college and NFL coach when he was really into it. But you talked about the kids getting time to be college kids. Today is St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
How does Coach Mac celebrate St. Patrick's Day? Is Coach Mac, does he allow himself to
Ought to be a team dinner at the house, no?
St. Patrick's Day?
Team dinner at the house. Yeah, that's a good idea. Though the guys are they worked out in here this morning. They're going to, and then of course they'll enjoy St. Patrick's Day, and I think it's kind of spring break down here. So I lecture them on being careful with spring break with everybody coming down here, but they are college kids, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that at Florida State, y'all didn't do any spring breaking. I know
none
you
at all.
studied all spring break.
Yeah,
so no doubt, but they're doing well. And today I'm kind of I'm not doing the usual St. Patrick's Day. I have my first grandson is in town, and he's 10 months old. So I'm going to go home this evening and be able to spend some time with my grandson Ford a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm excited about that.
All right. Well, I can vouch for the fact that your team battled hard last year because, and I've spoken about this, a little personal bookmaking venture I have with a friend of mine. He gave me FIU a couple of times, and you were there. I mean, you pull off remarkable plays and hang in tough at the end of games, and managed to stay close to even what was deemed to be superior competition at the time. So. Maybe there isn't as much catching up to do as a lot of people, might perceive. Hey, we wish you all the best. Corned beef and cabbage on us tonight. I don't know. Do you do that, or you go out for cheeseburgers?
All right, that sounds good. Hey, we'd love for y'all to come out to practice sometime. Really would. Maybe
there's a deal.
Maybe you can do your show out there. I don't know. It's
we'd be happy to.
We'd love for you to. Our kids would love that. And that, if you'd like to, I know you'll be in touch with our people and Randy Press and different guys. And we got. We start Tuesday. We go all the way to April 22nd.
Nice.
Every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So
Lubie has a qualifier, though.
So here's the deal.
Yeah.
I'm open to it. We now consider you a part of the Defo Show family. We're looking forward to you on regularly. We were duped by this in the years past. Charlie Partridge, who's still a dear friend, and now at Pittsburgh, formerly at FAU, had us come out. And we're supposed to do the same thing. And I was going to run drills.
Yeah.
This was 15 years ago. So Lubie, who was even younger. I'm open to doing the show and even doing some fun things. I don't want to die. I'm just going to tell you this now.
Yeah.
I don't want to die.
Had me against their center, who was 6'8", 350, and he was on the Remington watch list for best centers in the country. And Defo and I are laughing. They had me sign 3 waivers. The guy literally picks me up, body slams.
They had a rabbi out there to read him his last rites, too.
We do a route against a defensive back who had played at Booker T, who had won the national championship the year before. Yeah. And I'm thinking it's going to be fun. I go to catch it. He levels me, and they're all laughing. So I'm just warning you, we will come. I'll even do some fun drills. Let the guys have some fun. I just don't want to. That's all I'm asking.
He looked like Tua Tagovailoa on a couple of those hits where his head bounced off the canvas, Coach. No Daredevil stuff. That will be in the contract, okay? We'll be happy to come out there, but no Daredevil stuff.
Well, have a happy St. Patrick's Day. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate you coming on the show. Always great. All right, there's an invitation. Do we do it?
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm down. No, let's do it. It's fun.
Be kind of fun. Yeah, get outside, do the show a little bit, and see if we can't pull it off. Get a couple of these FIU guys, generating some enthusiasm for the program. They were tough against the spread. I don't know what their overall record was, but I tuned in, and here's the other thing that's kind of weird about even smaller college football programs. I guess you almost have to look at it like some hawk or a pelican is going to swoop down and just grab the big fish that's swimming, in the school there, because. That's rough, right? When you can't offer that kind of name, image, and likeness money. That's a whole nother aspect of it. So here's FIU. You get a couple of decent players, a couple of guys that move on to the pros every, now and then. But and become decent players in the NFL. But those guys are hard to come by. So if they establish themselves there for 1 year, you have to assume they're pretty much going to be gone. within a short period of time, which is unfortunate. But we'll hope he has some success. He's a great guy, Mike MacIntyre, very inspirational, good guy. So
it's fun, and I'm down to go out there, do the show, and do some things. I just don't want a concussion again.
No, that was like an Outland Trophy candidate that flattened you, and the kid didn't get it. He drove you like you were a blocking sled. And to your credit, Lubie, I mean, I don't think it's a good characteristic, but you were serious about competing. As you were with that monster, Jeff Monson, who was a UFC caliber mixed martial artist, and you're there actually trying to wrestle this guy on the floor. He's got you in a rear naked choke, the likes of which would have had anybody tapping out.
The one that did it was because I don't know how to block. My form was horrendous, and everyone's laughed at it. The video's so.
No one expected that guy to hit you that hard, though.
But the one that messed me up was the defensive back, because I did play football my whole life.
Yeah,
I tried to run a route, and I really thought
you didn't look that bad on that part of it. I will say.
And
you weren't like one of these guys that just runs out as far as you can and then starts screaming, here. There was a little pattern to it, man, a juke.
But he shoved me.
He definitely, there was pass interference. Everybody saw it was blatant.
I was like, what the hell?
I didn't understand why Partridge didn't, after the first incident, didn't tell the next guy to back off a little bit.
I guess he must have had some respect for me in some form.
No, nobody had any respect for you. I mean, obviously, they treated you like a rag doll.
But if he thought I was going to get hurt, he could be even I could sue whatever.
Oh yeah, no, that I'm sure wasn't on his list. Yeah,
he believed I wasn't going to get hurt.
He didn't realize how fragile these media people were. Right, because we talk about talk a big game. Oh yeah, I play with Dr. J, and all of this bullshit. But meanwhile, where are my credentials? That would be like very hard to find, even with Google. All right, we're going to be out at Gulfstream Park later on today. I'm hoping Marty the Party Sacks and Southern Brian stop by.
Oh,
Southern Brian wants to talk barbecuing with Mike Mayo. I don't know if he'll be up for that. You never know with the Mayo agenda, but we'll see. And then we'll have the contest there. You can win the Sunday brunch for two at the 10 Palms Buffet. And I don't know what the restaurant is going to be this week, but it's been fairly simple to get that part of it. And you would have to say the horse, is not the easiest of things, but the people have been very astute on that, coming up with the winning horse in the Saturday feature. And we've had, 26? Was that the largest number that we had that got both elements?
Oh, that actually got right? No, I think we've had a 20 to 25 week high once.
Something like that. Yeah, I think, it was like 26 entries one week. All right, so we'll have that later on. We'll do that at 12 o'clock, and it's always great being out there at Gulfstream Park. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks to Coach MacIntyre for joining us here on the show. I think the guy's great. And all of our handicappers were outstanding today. The Greek, the professor, who went 5-0 yesterday, and Mark Lawrence, PlaybookSports.com. Of course, he had the dog in the Princeton game.
Obviously.
What else would he have, man? Nothing. I mean, that was like a can of Alpo coming in for him. It was unbelievable. Just go ahead, let's eat. 14 and a hook he was getting. They went out right. All right, good luck with all your plays today on the college basketball games. That was a lot of fun yesterday, I'd have to say. Whether you're a big fan of college basketball or not, I was generally wildly entertained.
Yeah, it was great.
By some of the action yesterday, so that was a lot of fun. We'll see you next time as we leave you on that.
The time.
It's 9:23.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.